You guys have Sadiq Khan. I think he's the first three-term mayor in London ever, a Muslim guy himself. What happened to London after he came in that New Yorkers can expect?
This is a seismic moment for New York. Here you've got a guy out there not just espousing a socialist philosophy, but it's seemingly utterly determined to try and deliver it.
Would you be okay with a Muslim prime minister of UK?
Listen, I don't want a radicalized Muslim running the country. I don't want to radicalize anything. You get Christian extremists in America who committed appalling atrocities.
You're comparing the two? What do you think about what Tommy has shown when he's going in the streets, having 100,000 people showing up?
There is a rising concern, which Robinson has tapped into. We're losing our identity as a country. Everybody feels that this is getting unsustainable.
What's your position with who Epstein was?
I think he was a predatory pedophile. We don't know the full story yet about Andrew, but we may well find out. I think he's been lying.
Where's your position with everything that's going on within the Republican influencer party?
I've never met or interviewed Fuentes. The stuff he said on the record is so appalling in many cases. You have to go after him about it.
You had Alex Jones on when he came in with the whole...
Well, he had a petition to deport me. And this idea that he didn't know that he was spewing lies is bullshit. Of course he knew.
Did you ever think you were making it? I feel I'm supposed I could take sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
betdavid.
My handshake is better than anything I ever signed. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about
I don't think I've ever said this before.
We're finally doing this.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah, it's normally through the Zoom and you're out there doing your thing, but it's great to sit down together.
Thank you for having me, but also the scale of your empire here is quite something.
Well, thank you. Yeah, most people when they come, they're thinking, and then they see what's going on. It's exciting.
Very impressive.
Yes, and I know you and Vinny, you guys have a very unique bond together. He loves being on the show.
I love him coming on. Vinny has an energy unlike anybody I think I've ever met in my life. And what I love is he just gives it back to everyone that gives it to him. There's no quarter given. But also he's an unpredictable guy. You can't box him in the way that people like to. They try and box him in as you're this and you're that.
Yeah.
And he'll often say, actually, I don't think that. I don't think he's an interesting character.
Yeah, made for TV,
Yes.
period. Made for TV. Every time I see these thumbnails and Vinny's pictures like that, or he's so animated, so you can always pick something. But Piers, I'm trying to see what angle to take with you. So there's a couple. I want to talk to you about, your relationship with the president. I want to talk to you about some of the stuff with Israel that you've hosted. So I think you hosted the first big one with Bassem Youssef came on, that one fiery 30-something million views. And then there was a back and forth. But also with what's going on with London. So right now in U.S., Mamdani just became the mayor of New York City, financial capital of the world. Prior to that, the financial capital of the world was London, right?
Course.
So you guys had it for 100 years. We had it for 100 years. And, when Americans sometimes look at Europe and they look at EU, they're like, wow, look, London's lost. They've lost their identity. Look what's going on to them. And we had Dominic Tarczynski, who was here from Poland. He said, we'll never do what London is doing. We'll never do what EU is doing. What can New Yorkers, if you can give them advice to what look for? You guys have Sadiq Khan. I think he's the first three-term mayor in London ever, right? Muslim guy himself. What happened to London after he came in that New Yorkers can expect?
It's interesting because I think there's been a slight mischaracterization of the comparison between Mamdani and Sadiq Khan. They're both Muslims, but Sadiq Khan is very much a establishment Labour figure in the UK. He's not a progressive woke left guy on many issues. Mamdani is full-on self-acclaimed socialist. That's not Sadiq Khan. Sadiq Khan, the parallel I said with Mamdani, he keeps winning elections because the opponents they put up against him have been universally useless.
This is Sadiq.
Yeah, so he's had a very easy run. And to be fair to him, he's won re-election twice. Mamdani was up against Cuomo, who I always felt was damaged goods. I felt if you're going to put a moderate up against him who actually was new and fresh and interesting, he probably could have done better, or she could have done better. So Mamdani had a bit of a clean run against a damaged guy, I felt. But there's no doubt this is a seismic moment for New York. I mean, it's the biggest city in America. It's one of the great capital cities of the world. It's, in many ways, the heart of capitalism itself. And here you've got a guy out there not just espousing a socialist philosophy, but it's seemingly utterly determined to try and deliver it. Now, I would say look, Mr. Mamdani, this is all very well offering everybody everything for free, but there's a reason socialism hasn't worked anywhere in the world for any sustained period of time. At some point, somebody has to pay for this. So who's going to pay for all this? And the answer will be what's happened with the Labour government in the UK. The taxes aren't set by Sadiq. He has a tiny bit of power over local taxation. But the Labour government came in with a thumping majority just over a year ago. Massive, one of the biggest majorities of modern times, a real repudiation of years of very poor rule by the Conservative Party under a series of prime ministers. And they promised all sorts of things. Prosperity is coming, hope is coming, all these things. And it's been a complete disaster. And they're now about to unleash a budget in about 3 weeks' time, which they're already setting the stall by is going to be a total U-turn on all their pledges in the election campaign. They said they wouldn't raise income tax. They're going to. They said they wouldn't do this, wouldn't do that. They're going to do it all because they've realized they can't pay for all the promises they made. And I think this is what's going to happen in New York.
How ugly things going to be in New York?
Well, it's going to get very interesting politically, I think, because Mamdani is clearly the most charismatic figure the Democrats have had, really, for a long time, since Obama, you could argue.
Maybe even more charismatic than Obama, if you think about it.
He's more engaging, actually. I think he's more engaging. And look, he's an Arsenal fan like me, a big Arsenal fan. So we have that in common. And it's not that I object to his aspirations. It's just that often with socialists, there's a complete disconnect between the aspiration and the ability to deliver. Now, if we come back in 2 years' time, let's be clear. If Mamdani, within 2 years, manages to deliver on his socialist agenda in a way that is deemed to be successful and popular, massive transformative moment for the Democrats leading into the next general election. I don't think he can. I think the opposite will happen. I think he'll either, like a lot of these guys, once they get power, pivot more to the center ground, or he will try and force through these socialist policies. It won't work, and he will become the stick to beat the Democrats with leading into the next general election. So there's massively high stakes here because the Democrats have nobody else who has any real charisma. Nobody. And in fact, the most charismatic people on the left in America right now, you could argue, are Mamdani, AOC, and Bernie Sanders. So you've got a bunch of socialists dominating the news cycle for them.
Yeah, and what do you do with that, right, when you're seeing that part taking place? Because, on the other side, Nancy Pelosi stepping down, Newsom, you hear that voice coming up, and you're an interesting place because you do business in New York, you have a property, I believe, in L.A., you're in London, you're going back and forth, so you kind of are able to, compare all those different climates. But going back to UK, London, so we see the videos. We see Tommy Robinson. I have Tommy Robinson on. I know you guys have had your set of back and forth, and I've followed it over the years of what's happened. But what do you think about what Tommy says? Not his background, not any of the criminal stuff, not any of that stuff that maybe you guys have issues with. I'm not trying to do the personal stuff. What do you think about what Tommy is showing when he's going in the streets, having 100,000 people showing up? A lot of people in London finally are coming out saying the Overton window of immigration, not even people in London, the story came out last week, they're even more aggressively anti-immigration than America. They're like, we don't want any more of this. For you, somebody who is from there, what have you noticed the changes in London since Muslims started entering decades ago?
Well, I think it's the problem has been massively exaggerated. However, there is a rising problem. That's how I would categorize it myself. Tommy Robinson resonates with people because of two things, I think. One, he was absolutely right about the grooming gang scandal in the north of England. It was a horrendous scandal involving almost exclusively British Pakistani men abusing young white English girls. That was the scandal, and it was going on for years. It was horrific. These girls were being appallingly abused by a particular section of the community. But nobody dared say what that community was because they were trapped in woke ideology that you can't name a criminal if it doesn't suit the woke agenda. And so Tommy Robinson was one of those people that early on began calling this out, and he was right to do so, and he deserves credit for doing it. Mainstream media weren't completely oblivious. One guy on the Times actually exposed it originally and kept banging that drum. But many people in the establishment in the UK conspired to cover it up. They didn't want this. They thought it would be too much of a powder keg to say what actually happened, which is this was British Pakistani men abusing white English girls. That was it. And they should have been clear with what was going on. So Tommy Robinson deserves credit for that. let's not get into his background. I have my issues about it. I have my issues about some of the sanitization of who he is when he comes on American shows, because he tends to, I think, be very disingenuous. But park all that. Why is he also gathering momentum now with his marches, which used to be, really a bunch of thugs running around, attacking police and so on. But it's morphed into a much bigger number of people. Many of them are completely peaceful. Many of them share his concerns about immigration failures, in terms of policy failures in the country for decades now. And again, on that specific, he's right. And the reason he's right is you can go back to really, it's interesting that I think the way this has played out. Tony Blair in the early 2000s opened the floodgates on immigration, but to Eastern Europe. And so we suddenly had a massive influx of people from Eastern Europe into the UK. And this was deemed to be a good thing. And then it became a thing that was slightly out of control. And then generally immigration seemed to spiral out of control, both legal and illegal. We started getting this problem on the boats coming over from France. It's now up to 50, 60,000 people a year are coming in illegally on these small boats. No one appears to have any idea how to stop this happening. But more damagingly, 2 years ago, we had a net migration in the UK of legal migration of nearly 1 million people. Now, to put it in context, we only have just under 70 million people in the UK. You bring in 1 million people a year legally and add them to the already creaking infrastructure. We have our much vaunted national health system, the NHS, was designed in the 50s for a population of 50 million. We now have a population of nearly 70 million. So comparative to America, we're a fifth of the size, but in comparison to where we were in the 50s, we are massively bigger population. The strain on all of our infrastructure, all our public services, has been getting worse and worse and worse in direct correlation to the size of our population. And that is what's been fueling a lot of the anger. A lot of people, add the pandemic, add the cost of living crisis, so add years of really tough times for a lot of people, particularly working class people in Britain. And they see a lot of people coming in either illegally or with the blessing of the state, with many dependents. And they see with the illegal migrants coming over on the southern border, they get put in 3-4-star hotels. They get treated way better than the way that many people are living their lives who are in the country illegally already. And it causes a lot of resentment. Then you add inevitably, when you get these kind of numbers coming in, that you're going to get migrants committing crimes. And when they do, this becomes a hugely inflammatory thing. So again, on that aspect of it all, Robinson is correct.
So if you look at this number, this is estimated Muslim population in UK by percentage from 83 till today. I'm sure you've seen this, 500,000 in 83, 1%. And then it cracked 1 million in 97, 14 years later, and then 2 million, and then 4 million, and then 4.5, some say 5 million today, 6-7% of the population. You have flirted with the concept of wanting to run for prime minister. I heard, whether you're joking or you're being serious, if there is a crazy personality that could pull it off, you probably have the personality to pull it off. But let's just say you do say, you know what, I'm going to get in there and I'm being hired as a, true, strategic, or I'm going to run for this. Do you think this growth, the way it's going right now, getting to 10, 20, 30%, do you think it is a good idea to keep allowing people to come in to combine the Islam way of thinking, what their ideas are, and coexist with the Western ideology?
Well, I think there are issues which are serious to be considered. For example, it's been reported there are as many as potentially 85 unofficial Sharia courts in the UK now, which are not operating under UK law. They're operating in their own law for their own communities. That clearly is not a good thing in a country like the UK. I would say, look, we have a very high Muslim population now, comparative percentage-wise to the United States. In fact, I think we're not far off in terms of total numbers to the whole of America. So we have a lot of Muslims who live in the UK. We've always been a very multicultural, very tolerant place. That's why people want to come and live there, a bit like America. I would say the vast majority, I've said this before and I say it again, the vast majority of Muslims living in the UK have assimilated perfectly well and live perfectly peaceful and lives which contribute to society. The problem is, I think, coming with the sheer volume of people coming in and the sheer volume coming in illegally as well, where, as you've had in the United States, people have actually no idea who these people really are, how radicalized they may be, what their plans may be when they get to the United Kingdom. And then you see the quite disturbing spectacle of protests, say, in London during the Israel-Hamas war, where people are brazenly supporting Hamas in these protests. And, Hamas is a prescribed terror group in the United Kingdom. That should be not happening. So there is a rising concern, which Robinson has tapped into, and some would say, his critics would say, he's fueled it for his own devices, but he's tapped into a genuine concern. And the worrying thing for the government should be that as their popularity plunges, the popularity of people like Robinson and like the Reform Party under Nigel Farage, although those two don't get on, you're seeing a rising sentiment in the UK that we're losing our identity as a country. And what should we do about that? Whilst preserving the UK's historic position of being a welcoming, tolerant country, proudly multicultural. How do you juggle that with the sheer volume of people coming in and the impact that's having on local communities? And how do you stop communities developing within communities? In other words, how do you stop the fragmentation of our society where you have little separate worlds developing in all major cities and towns? These are genuine concerns. And for people, the old days used to be shut down, these conversations by people saying, well, you're racist. That we're long past that stage. People now openly talk about this in UK on political shows and so on. And you're no longer just labelled a racist if you express concern about immigration. Everybody feels that this is getting unsustainable. So the question is, what do we do about it?
So you have how many kids? You have four kids? Okay.
Yeah.
So 4 kids, but they're grown, right? They're grown. They're doing
32 down to 13.
Okay. So you do have a 13-year-old.
13-year-old, yeah.
Okay. And then what's the oldest after 13?
32.
Okay.
Oh, well, my youngest boy is 24, then 28,
24,
and 32.
so 13. If you were to start all over again, okay, and you're 25 today, and you're capable, meaning you shine on camera, you're very comfortable being under the fire, that's your comfort zone, you're going to go make money no matter where you go, here, any other country. Would you choose to raise your 4 kids where you're at, or would you move out of the country?
I would, and I would remind people we've been through a lot more difficult times than this. I think a lot gets amplified by social media, and that can be a very good thing or a very bad thing. My grandmother was 19 at the start of World War II, and she was 25 when it ended. As she always said to me, I lost 6 of the best years of my life. She said, however, I then went from 25 to 94 and had a brilliant 70 years after that. So imagine living through World War II. Imagine the kind of conversations you and I would have been having about that, about the impending threat of Nazi domination, of Nazis taking over the UK. We've faced bigger challenges than this. This is a challenge that's come, in my opinion, across the whole of Europe. The sweeping migration, much of it coming from countries that have been at war, whether it's Syria, Iraq, or wherever it may be. But you've had millions and millions and millions of people deposed from their homes or fleeing war-torn situations and sweeping across the continent of Europe and wanting a better life for their families, which I completely understand. But it has got unsustainable. And it's not just a problem for the UK, it's a problem for Germany, for France, for many of the European countries. They're all facing the same challenges. Nobody at the moment, it seems to me, has a clear idea of what we do about this, other than I look at somewhere like the United States. I look at the way Donald Trump just slammed the brakes on the southern border almost instantaneously and reduced the number of people coming in from 2.5 million a year to literally a couple of thousand a month, right? And you look at that and you think, well, okay, you can control borders. You just have to have the determination to do it. I also think Trump has universal support in America when he says that anyone who's here illegally in the United States who then commits a crime outside of their immigration status should be deported. Where the flashpoint comes, and where it's an interesting thing as to whether other countries like the UK follow the Trump philosophy on this, is where you start deporting people who have been here for a number of years illegally, but who have been maybe working, paying taxes, contributing to society, bringing up kids and so on. What do you do with those people? I understand that they want to create an atmosphere of you have to come in legally, and if you don't, then you can't stay here. I understand that, but you don't want America to lose its inherent sense of compassion and empathy either. And I think some of the images for me of ICE running into Home Depot and grabbing people who are undocumented and wanting to throw them out, living in LA as I do for a lot of the time, the fear that's engendered amongst the community in LA is it's not a good thing. So I think there's a balance to be struck here, albeit you cannot look at Trump's overall immigration policy and not think it's been extremely effective so far. And you've got to look at the hypocrisy of the left when they go after Trump. It's like my favorite question for my lefty friends, my liberal woke friends. And I used to identify happily as liberal. I just find nothing in common with these people. But I say to them, how many people did Barack Obama deport in 8 years as president? They never know, for one. They can tell exactly how many Trump has, but they never know how many Obama did. And then I tell them it's 3 million people. Just Google it. You can Google it. So A, they don't want to know. B, when they find out, they're completely shocked. C, I said he was known as deporter-in-chief in Mexico. Right? That was his nickname.
That's right.
Right? This guy deported more people pro rata per year than any president in the history of the United States. And yet the same rules do not apply to Obama than do to people like Trump. So, I think there's a lot to learn from the way Trump's gone about it, albeit with some caveats.
Yeah. So, you said something about your grandma being 19 to 25 during the war. I lost 6 of my best years, but I lived to 94, 70 years, some of the greatest years of my life, right? Okay. When you had to overcome that war, you had this one guy named Winston Churchill, right? So just curious. You're saying, Muslims that come in and they assimilate, great, no problem. I don't have any problem. We have Muslims in our company that we work with, and they've assimilated. They love America, right? If you ask the Muslim Council of Britain, it'll say that 75% of Muslims in Britain have assimilated and see themselves as Brits.
Yeah.
I'm a Brit. I consider myself proud Brit as well, but 25% don't, depending on the numbers you look at. How would Winston Churchill today, would Winston Churchill be tolerant with the borders? Would he be like, yeah, it's okay, let him come in?
No,
would he handle the threat? And think about how his wiring was. This is your world.
Yeah.
What do you think he would have done today?
No, I think he'd have been tough. I think he'd have been
In what way?
Well, I think he'd have been very protective of our borders in a way that was very protective against the threat of Nazism to our way of life. I think that he would have understood inherently, that actually having open borders, as Ronald Reagan said, right? The best line ever was the simplest one. If you have an open border, you don't have a country. Of course you don't. The very definition of a country is something that has a border. So the moment you allow your border to be completely open, you're just going to be a hostage to your own misfortune. And that's what we're seeing happening. Again, it's a big problem for the continent of Europe. It's not just a problem for the UK. The difference we have is twofold. One, we're an island, the United Kingdom. And secondly, we're detached from the European Union, not just geographically, but financially and every other way now through leaving the EU, through Brexit. So, we haven't got a lot of friends in France, for example. They don't really that bothered about helping us with the small boats crisis, because why should they help us at all, given the pain we inflicted on them by leaving the EU? So there's a lot of that going on. But they've all got their own problems. I was in Paris recently, and you could say, I think you could be fair to say, Paris is a very different place when you walk around to what it was like 30 years ago. I know. My wife is half Parisian, was born and raised there. And so you see it changing. Now, I've got no problem. America's the classic example of a country where every city you go to, you'll meet myriad people from myriad different countries, myriad different backgrounds, and so on. And the United States is a great example of how this can work. But you have to have control of your borders, and you have to have a sensible, tough immigration policy. The irony for me is, when you try and become like I have, I'm a exceptional alien is my status on my visa status for the United States. I always laugh. They literally call you aliens. And my visa is pegged to my work, and I'm here as an... So, I'm a little bit perturbed that I have to be called an alien, but the fact they call me an exceptional alien, I'll take it.
Respect.
Yeah, but the amount of paperwork and money you have to spend on getting through your visa immigration status each time I have to renew it is indicative of a country that does apply these rules. And the reason that people get so angry about those who circumnavigate the rules is a lot of them have had to do the same. And if you go through the proper process to go into a country legally or to set up your home there with your family, whatever it may be, obviously you're going to really resent people who wash up on a small boat, who might be criminals. You've no idea, because the UK government has no idea, by the way, who's on these boats, for example. We found in one purge that 30% one year all came from Albania, which is not a war-torn country. It's a country in Eastern Europe, but there's a lot of gangs. And these were gang members coming into the UK, predominantly the major cities, to deal in things like drugs. So they did a deal with the Albanians and it stopped that stone dead. But now we have people coming in from other countries. So there's
what would Churchill have done? What do you think he would have done?
I think what would he have done?
Seriously, what do you think he would have done? Just think his profile.
I certainly think right now he would have put the clamps down on more people coming
would
in.
He have
except
sent,
in exceptional circumstances.
Would he have sent anybody back from the 7% that came here? How would he have treated some of the criminals? How would he have treated some of the some of the stuff that's going on?
So I would say he certainly wouldn't have just picked out the Muslim community. We have a lot of different communities. Like I said, the grooming gang scandal in America was very high profile and attracted a lot of heat, obviously. But we have a lot of different religions, nationalities living in the UK. I don't think he would have singled out Muslims. I think what he would have taken a more pragmatic view and gone, we have too many people in this country now. There's too much pressure on our public services. Some people are going to have to leave. Who are those people? Well, anyone who commits a crime, who's come in here to this country legally but commits a crime, should be deported. I think most people feel that. And then you've got to stop the people coming in illegally. What is the most effective way of doing that? No one's had a good plan so far. The Conservative Party boasts about their Rwanda plan, but it was so ridiculous. It was like a tiny handful of people would have ever got on those planes to Rwanda. It was never going to work in the way they kept trying to promise it would. So what is the most effective way to do it? I actually think that if Trump was in charge, for example, he'd probably say to Emmanuel Macron, if you don't stop these boats leaving your shores, because it has to be done at the French end, then we're going to tariff you 1,000% on your wine and cheese coming into the UK. He would have taken a brutal move like that.
Why are they not doing that right now?
I don't know. I don't know why they're not so tougher on the French. You've got to do a deal with the French on this. You've got to say, look, sorry, you're letting all these people get on these boats. Once they're at sea, there's hardly any way to stop them. And then once they wash up on our shore, they are legally allowed to remain as potential asylum seekers.
Is it fear? Is it something you guys need from them? Is it something? Is it a history of
Do you know what it is, Patrick? It's tough leadership. Churchill was a very flawed character in many ways. He was a big smoker, big drinker. He said some pretty ugly things over the years about people, all of these things. But he was also brilliantly talented, an amazing writer, a painter, a musician, also an incredibly complex, talented, brilliant man. But when it came to our biggest ever challenge of facing the threat of Nazism, he was the one who stood up and convinced the British public we can beat these people when nobody else thought we could. And for that alone, he's my greatest ever Briton, albeit like all my great Britons and all my great favourite people, flawed, right? But I think we need a strong, probably flawed character to come forward and go, right, we have this problem. What are we going to do about it? Let's have a proper open debate where people who contribute are not immediately branded racist if they think we have too many people in the country and too many people coming in both legally and illegally. What are we going to do about this? And stop putting people who come in illegally in very luxurious hotel accommodation, which enrages local communities who are living in far lower standards of living.
Who are some names? Who are some names? Because remember, Roger Stone was the first guy that looked at Trump and said, that you hear the stories where it's like, this guy's going to be the president one day. You can be the president one day. You can go become president one day, right? And Trump's like, nah, I'm a business guy. I'm doing what I'm doing. Who are some names that you say they would have the brass and the balls to go out there and put their foot down?
Here's the problem. I don't really see the person. I'll tell you why I don't think I see that person. We now have a very mediocre tier of politicians in the United Kingdom. All the smart ones who've been genuinely successful in their own lives, they don't want to poke their head into the political arena. It's become too toxic, too damaging. You tend to get absolutely fried for every peccadillo you've ever done in your entire life. Nobody who's got probably the smarts and has been a success themselves wants to do it. So you're left with a mediocre, it's like being in any company and suddenly a sort of lower ranking, lower middle management team suddenly run the company. Well, there's a reason they're lower ranking middle managers in most cases. They're not as capable as the ones actually running the company. I feel like that about a political class in the UK.
Yeah.
They're just across all the parties, there is a paucity of people that I think have the drive and the smarts to do this. Nigel Farage's Reform Party are getting a lot of traction, I think, by default because the others are so useless. But even he, when I listen to his economic policies, they don't make any sense, right? He's basically a bit of a one-trick pony. He's strong on immigration, albeit I'm not entirely sure he's got the answers. But I hear him on the economy, I think you could be left-wing. So This is a problem. We've got to get back to attracting the best of the best to want to come in to run the country.
Would you be okay with a Muslim prime minister of UK?
Yeah.
You'd be okay. That wouldn't do anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's your concern isn't that at all?
No, not at all. No, listen, I don't want to radicalize Muslim running the country. I don't want to radicalize anything running the country. There's a lot of radicalized elements of all religions, of all nationalities. I don't like anyone who's radicalized. It's dangerous for any country to have people at the helm who are radicalized. Do I think we have a particular problem in the UK with radicalized Muslims? I'm not convinced by that. I think there are radicalized Muslims, and clearly the Muslim population is rising exponentially fast compared to other populations. So we are going to have to look at this and say, well, what do we do about this going forward in a way that you don't look like you're just picking on people because of their Muslim faith?
I respect the tolerance that you have of what could happen to Brit long term, because I think sometimes when you're in it and it's gradual, like the whole thing about you put a frog in a boiling water and you boil it slowly, and then boom, he's dead. It's too late, right? I think sometimes when people are in it, they're like, yeah, well, it's okay with this, it's okay with that, it's okay with this. I think UK is flirting with being tolerant, and it'd be interesting to see who would rise up and want to do something about it.
Well, look, I go to a lot of Muslim countries. I've been in Saudi Arabia. I've been in
To me,
Qatar.
the biggest thing is the extremists. It's not a...
No, exactly. Here's my point, though. But also, they have zero tolerance of people wanting to operate under their own laws when they go to those countries. For example, so the whole debate about Sharia law and so on, I can understand why a lot of Brits get exercised about that, because if I went to Saudi Arabia or Qatar or somewhere and decided I would ignore the country's laws and operate under my own laws while I was there, you wouldn't get away with it for very long.
So why would you be okay with that? Why would you be okay with that?
Well, I wouldn't.
No, but what I'm saying is, so if you were okay with somebody who was a Muslim to become a prime minister, and then say they're the noble one, right? And they're coming in, they actually love Britain. But it opens it up, and an extremist like, I'm going to get in. Then they come in and they say, hey, Sharia law, what are you going to do about it? Then what? Because you're making it a step ahead.
Yeah, but I don't think you can't tar the entire Muslim population with the brush of potential extremism in the same way that you get Christian extremists in America who've committed appalling atrocities. I don't assume that every Christian, I'm a Christian, I don't assume every Christian in America is a potential extremist. I just think it's... There's got to be a more...
You're comparing the two?
No, I'm just saying extremism is extremism.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Isn't it?
It is.
Well, it's the same, isn't it?
It is. No, I think extremism is extremism. To me, that's not the part of it. But when you look at the percentage of who is, like, for example, in America, I don't care what part of the world you're in. When Japanese came to the World Cup, do you remember the story about the Japanese when they went to the World Cup? What were they doing afterwards at the end of the game? They were cleaning up the arena. Everyone's like, what are they doing here? That's what we do in Japan. So would I want 1,000 Japanese neighbors? Yes. Would I want 10,000 Japanese neighbors? I don't care what religion they are. I don't care what God they believe in. They are their own people. They raise kids. They go and work. They don't hate America. They don't get up there and commit terrorist crime. You don't hear stories like that from them. They just go and do their part, right?
But I would argue this back. Right? So I went to the Qatar World Cup, for example, for a week. Felt completely safe. There was no hooliganism whatsoever.
But that's not the same as the extremists. These are two different...
No, I agree. But again, I think there's extremists everywhere attached to all different groups. And I would say that I like the way the Middle East has been opening up in the last decade. I think it's exciting, it's dynamic. I just interviewed Cristiano Ronaldo in Riyadh at his home there. One thing he said, it just feels really safe. And it feels like it's opening up in a way that's good for families and everything else. And I think that's great. And I think we should be encouraging countries like that to continue the evolution that they're on. Without sort of, I don't like the tinge of you're all potential extremists until you prove otherwise.
No, because
I think it's unfair to a whole. I mean, how many Muslims are there in the world? 1.4 billion. Are we really suggesting that 1.4 billion Muslims are all potential extremists? Because I don't get that sense of the Muslims I know in London. I walk down my high street in London. There are Muslims running all sorts of different businesses.
Okay.
And honestly, they're not extremists.
When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands.
We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless.
If we look at immigrants that come to America, what percentage of them are on SNAP the most? Have you seen this chart?
No.
Can you pull up this chart, Rob? So if we statistics are going to show it to you. So if you look at stats on what percentage of SNAP in America, what communities are taking advantage of it the most? Rob, I think we send it in Twitter in a group text where it breaks down who uses it the most and who doesn't use it the most. And stats will tell you. Guess what? You'll be able to look at that and say, okay, these communities, if it's Armenian, if it's Assyrian, if it's Persian, if it's this, I want to know about it.
Yeah.
And then from there, you have to sit there and say, when people come here from XYZ country, they make America a great place. Let's get some more of them. When people come here from XYZ countries, they don't make the place a better place. Well, let's do something about it as well. Can you? Did you find it, Rob?
I'm looking right now.
Hey, Humberto, can you guys send the chart? I think you know which one I'm talking about. That breaks down exactly the SNAP benefits. You will see in America. So while the government shutdown took place, food stamps by ethnicity. 45.6% of immigrants from Afghanistan are on SNAP. 42.4% from Somalia. 35% from Iraq. Then it's Dominican, Caribbean, Native, Puerto Rican, Cuban. So if I look at this number here, keep going all the way down, Rob, keep going all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. Okay, so then what do you see? Indians, 4.4%. Why are Indians not our SNAP? Indians are not Christians. I don't care what the religion is. Okay, I'm not sitting here saying, well, you know, but if you go all the way to the top and you look at SNAP, why are we inviting more from Afghanistan, Somalia, Iraq?
I'd need to study this in more depth, but certainly the Afghanistan, Somalia, Iraq, I mean, these are people, I imagine, predominantly who have fled war-torn countries. So they, by definition, when they come to America, are going to be impoverished.
Yeah,
right?
but you know, when America was founded, it's about getting the best to come over here, right? Like you run a business, you have one of the top shows. When it comes on to debate, you're running the number one show in the world when it comes on to debate. I don't think anybody is doing a better job than you when it comes on to the debate shows. But you would sit there and you would say, all right, can we look at the last 100 hires that we made? Yes. What school did they come from? Okay, and we'll see a pattern. Who has been here that has the highest retention ratio? And it'll say, University of Florida, their tenure with our company is 3.8 years. You know, Florida State is 7 months. I'm just making stuff up. FIU is 1.1. You know, such and such is, and like, guys, no more recruiting from FIU. I don't know the people at FIU. I don't know the people from Florida State. All I see is the tenure. When they come in, they're contributing to society in a positive way. I think from that standpoint, you have to consider who it's coming in. I don't care if you're Muslim, Christian, you know, Jehovah's Seventh-day Jew.
Let me ask you a difficult question. Yeah. So you fled your family
Iran. I lived there for 11 years.
From a war-torn place.
We did.
Right? So take Iraq, for example. When I was editor for the Daily Mirror in the UK, I opposed the Iraq war before, during, and after it. It cost me my job in the end. Yeah. After 10 years running the newspaper. But I think I was vindicated by what happened afterwards. That war was fought on a false pretext. Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. They never found them. So and also there was this kind of subliminal, we need to respond to 9/11. We can take out Saddam. I never saw that connection. It seemed to me completely wrong, much more arguable to go after where bin Laden and his people were in Afghanistan. So I look at Iraqis, right, who were displaced by a war, which many people, including me, would say was an illegal war in their country that caused utter devastation. And they come to somewhere like the United States, which has been the home for people like that ever since its inception, and is lauded around the world for that, for being a place that you can come to, right, from places like that. But is there not a particular duty of care? Maybe you don't think there is, but is there not a duty of care to people who come from a war-torn place like Iraq, where the United States, along with the UK and other countries, waged that war, in my view, completely wrongly, in a way that caused their displacement, caused them to lose their homes, maybe lose their loved ones, and they come here for a better life, but when they get here, they have nothing. Now, that may explain some of those numbers. I don't know. But certainly in that case, you've got to think, well, okay, if they're the ones who are getting the SNAP benefits, okay, what is the correlation between the ones who were displaced because of the actions of the United States and the UK and the other allies that fought the Iraq War on their presence here in the United States, and is there a duty of care towards them? I don't think we should lose in the mix of all this a compassion towards genuine asylum seekers, particularly from countries ravaged by wars which we may have been complicit in starting, in my opinion, on a false pretext.
Yeah, I think that I would sit there again. I would sit and I would say, if we're looking at anybody that's coming in, if we cost some of this, let's see what we can do about it. Now, of course, somebody in America could say, well, you caused all of it, right?
Right.
Okay, no problem. But if you're coming to America and you hate America, I have no tolerance for you.
I agree with that. I agree.
And you don't want to give anything back to the company, I have a hard time with you being here.
I agree.
To me, you know what it's like? When I came here, I served the Army. I've worked since the day I came to America, even when I was selling hats and shirts when I was 13, 14 years old. I love everything about this country, America, for me. And I think what ends up happening is when you're in a family, and was your father rich? Do you come from a wealthy family?
No, not at all. And I would add, my brother was a British Army colonel in the Iraq War, right, fighting on the front line. So
your brother was?
My brother was. So it's not like I didn't have a vested interest. Half my family had been British
But you know
Army.
where I'm going? Here's kind of where I'm going.
Yeah.
Your kids, your 4 kids, you have money. When something happens, your money is going to go to your kids, right? Now, are you going to give it equally if one of them says, I hate my dad, he's the worst dad in the world.
No.
You're not going to give it to him.
No, and I agree with you about people who come here and then vocally hate America.
That's the problem, though, Piers.
No, but I agree.
The problem ends up happening is...
But that's a separate problem to the one I'm articulating.
But what I'm saying is the filtering. To me, it's the filtering.
Yes.
If I see... If we do want, and by the way, the argument, some people in America are like, look, we don't want anybody else to come in here. This is plenty, right? There are people that I've had on the podcast that wouldn't even want me to be here right now. They're like, you know, you got lucky getting in here, which is their argument. They have the right to have that argument.
How wrong is that argument?
I will tell you, like, I'm having this conversation. I got 4 kids. I'd like to have 20 kids, right? So I flirted with my kids the other day. This was about 6 months ago. I said, so it's 50-50 jokes. It's not 100% of a joke. So I said, hey, guys, what do you guys think about surrogate? If daddy wanted to go with mommy and we have a surrogate, we have 5 girls that are going to have a surrogate, and you guys are going to have 5 siblings. My youngest son looks at me. Tell me what surrogate is. I think I know what it is. I said, well, it's mommy and daddy. It's really our kid, but somebody carries for 9 months. I don't want any of that. I said, why not? I don't want any of that because it's not in mommy's belly. We were on the mommy's belly. I want someone that's a mommy's belly. If you guys want to make another kid, it has to be mommy's belly, right? The level of pride this kid has to be in a betdavid that the mommy gave birth to the kid. I actually understand it and respect it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Of course.
I respect it. So if somebody's born in America and they're kind of like, look, man, yeah, maybe we got lucky with you, Pat, but we got a lot of ones that came through and we didn't get lucky with that. Hate America. To me, when I think about guys like Churchill you're talking about, or Trump we're talking about, I cannot believe what he's doing with ICE, and he single-handedly closed up the border. Crime is gone. Even Kamala Harris said we got the border wrong, and they did a better job of it. I think there's a little bit of a flirting with tolerance and just looking the other way. Where when I talk, anytime I have somebody here from UK that I'm talking about UK stats, UK government doesn't give any stats. You guys can't even study what's working, what's not working. It's like a secret. No, because if you guys knew, it would so much more of the crime, who is doing the crime. At least in America, we can sit there and look at, is black on black crime the most? Is it white on white crime? Is it white on black? Is it black on white? What is it? Percentage, not based on numbers, because of course there's more whites living here. Nobody's, oh, shoot. We'll show it. Even though it goes against what the Democratic Party wants to see. No, we don't want to talk about that because of fatherless communities. We need some stats. So I think if you looked at the stats and the data, and it shows that any of the immigrants are coming from a certain country who assimilate, love the country, don't want any entitlement programs, they create businesses, they create jobs, they make it safer, let's get more. If not, listen, keep it where it's at. To me, that's where it stops.
Well, listen, I don't disagree with the ideology behind that. I mean, you should only want people who are going to come and contribute to society. I would add the caveat of the Iraq caveat, which is if you go and bomb a country and you destroy people's lives, I do think a country like the United States, most prosperous country in the world, does have a duty of care to bring some of those people into its country, as it has done with the Iraqi community in the United States.
What if that's a royal screw-up on another administration that you never agreed with them? Because Trump doesn't agree with Bush. And remember, if there's any guy that has moral authority to say, I never supported that war, it's the guy that bought a full-page ad, I think it was in USA Today. Remember that one thing that he did back in the days? It's like, I am not for this war, right? So maybe he's saying, I didn't do that. Bush did that. That wasn't my doing. I'm changing it. We're going to do a different approach with it.
The good thing under Trump is that clearly and unusually for a Republican president of modern times, he is a man who prefers peace to war. I mean, he shows that with his actions in his first term and what he's done now. I mean, this idea, the debate about whether he gets a Nobel Peace Prize. Barack Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize for 2 fancy speeches 8 months into his first tenure. I mean, absolutely
Pretty
insane.
wild.
The idea Trump wouldn't get one for simply getting the hostages released, never mind anything else.
You want to know the craziest thing about Barack Obama's Nobel Peace Prize? You ready? You're going to lose your mind when I tell you this. So you know how we always say 8 months into being president, 8 months into being president. Do you know to win a Nobel Peace Prize, they have to nominate you before January 31st? He becomes
11 days.
11 days into it.
That's ridiculous. That means someone did it the day he was inaugurated. I know.
That's that right there. The deadline for Nobel Peace Prize nominations is January 31st. The guy wins 20 at 11 days.
I didn't know that.
Did you not know? That's the wildest story when you think about that.
Makes it even more insane.
Yeah. So, Piers, for you, the one thing that I think you probably have a lot of moral authority on this is the following. October 7 happens. Hamas attacks Israel, and we watch the whole thing, right? And then you do Bassem, and then you host all of these debates, and you're like, wait a minute, what did they do to Palestine? What is it going? So you kind of go from the pendulum, because I personally watch you go like this 3-4 times, because it seems like you're coming from a place that we're like, wait a minute, they're doing that? I'm not with that. Where did you go there, day one, to where are you now? Probably the most reasonable opinion is where you are today, right? Because you've kind of watched it going back and forth. What's your opinion on what happened there?
Well, first of all, October the 7th was one of the most heinous terror attacks of modern times, the worst attack on Jewish people since the Holocaust in World War II. These are undeniable facts. Hamas committed an act that day which immediately established them as a terrorist organization, who therefore renounced any rights to any governmental power at the end of all this. So that all happened on October the 7th with the scale of what they did. 1,200 people killed, nearly 7,000 wounded, 6 people kidnapped. I mean, absolutely despicable, horrific thing. So for many months after that, to the angst of many on the pro-Palestinian side and fury in some cases, I steadfastly defended Israel's right to defend itself. In fact, I said they didn't just have a right to defend themselves, but given that the Hamas official spokesman went on the airways about a week after the October the 7th atrocity to say, we're going to keep doing this again and again, the Israeli government had a duty, not just a right, but a duty to defend its people from further attacks from Hamas. So, okay, I laid my credentials down. People like Bassem Youssef came on and gave me a very hard time, but I always platform people like him. I platform people on both sides throughout the war.
You always. Yep.
And the bigger the followings they had, the more passionate, the better, because they were the ones getting most of the hearing on the airwaves. And I believe it's my job is to hear all the voices, challenge them all, and let the viewers work out where they think the reality lies. And I continued, and I would still defend Israel's right to defend itself. Right? I mean, Hamas are a terror organization. I've never disputed that at all, and I don't dispute it today. So when people on the really sort of more extremities of the pro-Israeli side, accuse me of being a pro-Hamas guy, it's so pathetic. Nothing I've ever said is anything other than they're a disgusting terror group and should have no power after all of this. And they should lay down their arms, and that's going to be the big debate as to whether they do. But then this year, and in particular, several things happened. One was the 3-month blockade, which, I've heard the arguments that there was no starvation, you never saw a starving Palestinian, blah, 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 blah. And one of the inherent problems, actually, with that and with a lot of the IDF blanket denials of things, or we're going to set up an inquiry and investigation when things go wrong. Fog of war, stuff happens. But the Israeli government's persistent, to this day, refusal to allow independent media into Gaza to do their jobs has been a massive problem for their credibility.
Yep.
If you've nothing to hide or worry about in terms of what you're doing, let war correspondents do their job. And as a journalist, I think it's a fundamental principle which they have continued to abrogate in a pretty shameful way, actually. And it does inevitably raise in me, as a journalist, suspicions about what they're hiding, which means they don't want to let journalists in, particularly even since the ceasefire. Still, journalists aren't allowed in by the Israeli government. So the blockade, I felt, was likely to pass the threshold of a criminal act. When you have a country that has the control over a border like Israel does over Gaza, allowing hardly any supplies of food or aid to go in, then I think that is a criminal act. Now, a lot of the official bodies like the United Nations and others said the same thing, but Israel doesn't take any of them seriously. So again, I don't know for sure what was happening in that period because I didn't see any independent journalists reporting on it. I do know Palestinian journalists reported on it, and 220 odd have been killed during the conflict. So there's not just a fog of war about this. There's a deliberate suppression by the Israeli government of allowing journalists to do their job, international independent journalists. I think that's to their great discredit. So I thought the blockade was just crossed every line. Then they undid the blockade, but the bombardment was relentless. And I kept saying to people throughout the war from day one, I don't know what a proportionate response is here. There have been flare-ups in this conflict going back 7 decades. We have never seen anything on the scale of what Hamas did that day, and we've never seen anything on the scale of the response by the Israeli government. They've killed 65, nearly 70,000 people. None of the ones we know about. That's obviously you have to take the figures from the Gaza-run health authority, the Hamas-run health authority Gaza, because there is no other way of establishing it. Historically, those figures have normally proven to be quite accurate, but Israel keeps trying to foggy those numbers, deny them, obfuscate and so on, to which I say, well, let the journalists in. Let's find the truth. They don't want to do that. So again, that's my big bugbear with this, how you get to the actual truth.
You think it's a genocide or a war?
I don't think it's a genocide simply for one reason. The word genocide gets bandied about a lot. It means the willful, systematic destruction of a people. And I don't think that's what we've seen in Gaza, much as people on the pro-Palestinian side try and get me to say it. No actual declaration of genocide has been waged against any. I mean, even in Rwanda, they never established it as an international court, but it was a genocide. So I didn't know. I learned all this actually covering all this on my show. I had a bunch of genocide experts on. Many think it is a genocide, but many don't think it is. But they all pointed out that actually the bar for reaching genocide is exceptionally high. And, as people have pointed out, there are other flashpoints around the world right now where probably many more people are getting killed. No one cares. No one's putting any spotlight on it. So I think that the rhetoric that's come from people like Smotrich and Ben-Gvir on the Israeli government side, who keep, every time they gob off, and they're very extreme far-right guys, they clearly have had a plan almost from day one of this to turn the events of October the 7th into an opportunity to ethnically cleanse Gaza of Palestinians. And by that I mean just kick them out. And they've now been openly talking about this year. So once I saw that happening, I was like, okay, there are elements of this government who genuinely do want, not just to dismantle Hamas and get the hostages released, they want to kick the Palestinians out of Gaza. They want to annex the West Bank. They said it. You can hear the tapes. And then I hear, well, they don't matter. Their opinions don't matter. They're senior members of the government. So I just felt that was, to me, this guy is an absolute lunatic, as is Smotrich. And I'm sorry, they do matter. They're serious players in this Israeli government. And so they have been waging a rhetorical campaign of wanting ethnic cleansing, which is a crime. So I don't think it's reached the bar of a genocide simply by comparison to other places where it's not been called a genocide. However, and I do, I've bought the argument that if Israel clearly has nuclear weapons, they don't admit it, but they clearly have them. If they wanted to drop a nuclear bomb on Gaza, they could have done. I understand if you're waging a deliberate genocide of a whole populace, you could do that. I get that argument, okay? But I do think They've got to be more accountable for what these guys on the government have been saying, because what they're talking about is ethnically cleansing. Now, to Trump's great credit, I think, for this alone, he should get the Nobel Peace Prize. Never mind anything else. He got the hostages released, but he also made it clear to Netanyahu, you are not going to annex the West Bank, and I want the Palestinian people to come back to Gaza, and we're going to rebuild this with a coalition of people helping to rebuild it and trying once and for all get this situation sorted in a way that we had with Northern Ireland, for example, near my country, where after decades and decades of conflict between warring neighbours, in the end, when nobody thought it could happen, in the late 90s, Bill Clinton, Tony Blair, Senator Mitchell got together and they managed to barrel through a peace plan that has pretty well held steady ever since, and the killing stopped on both sides. This can be done. It's incredibly difficult, but I am delighted that Donald Trump, in my opinion, has barreled through some common sense into Netanyahu, who was being fueled by these guys.
Have you interviewed Netanyahu yet?
Yeah, three times, but not since the war started.
Okay, that's the part. I mean, I'm talking about during the war. So have you reached out to him?
Yeah,
no?
he won't come on.
Why do you think?
He doesn't want to answer these questions.
So you've invited him, but he won't come on.
Yeah, many times. I've interviewed him 3 times before. I went to Jerusalem. I went to his office for CNN. Back in 2011-12.
So if he agreed to have you on and you'd go to Israel to interview him?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Very interesting that he hasn't come on with you. Okay. In regards to, you've had Ben Shapiro on when he was super young, when you were, you know what I'm talking about, when you had him on your Constitution, when you guys had that conversation. You had Alex Jones on when he came in with the whole, 1776.
Well, he had a petition to deport me, and it was quite funny actually, because he said that because of my opposition to or criticism of the Second Amendment, that I should be deported. And in fact, Obama was president, and it was done on the White House petitions page. And if it reached, I think it was a threshold of 25,000 signatures, the president had to give a verdict. And it went to like 120,000 people signed the thing to have me deported. And Obama, I was on air at the time, and the news came, you're not going to believe this, Obama's just saved you for the American people. I went, what do you mean? They said you can stay. He said that you're covered by your First Amendment rights, which apply to anybody who's living in America, citizen or not. You're covered by your First Amendment right to criticize the Second Amendment. And he was absolutely right. I was. So, I don't want to relitigate my whole view about guns in America. It rapidly became clear to me that whilst I may have validity to my views, these were not views shared by many Americans, and they didn't want to hear a Brit lecturing them on how to lead their lives. I get it. But on that point, they both missed the fundamental point, which is I was entitled under my First Amendment rights to criticize the Second Amendment, and so I should be.
And your position hasn't changed about Second Amendment?
Well, no. I mean, I think my position has changed in this regard. I would say that I come from a country that used to be steeped in guns. Everybody had a gun 200 years ago in Britain. And now very few people have a gun. We had a horrific mass shooting like Sandy Hook at Dunblane in Scotland in the mid-90s. I was editor of the Daily Mirror at the time. It led to a very interesting campaign started by a Conservative Prime Minister, John Major, taken up by Tony Blair, a Labour Prime Minister. It was a cross-party agreement that we were going to stop most private ownership of guns to try and stop this happening, because the person who did it in Dunblane, Thomas Hamilton, had built up a big arsenal of private weapons. And it was successful. And now we've not had a mass shooting since. In Australia, they had a horrific one in Hobart in Tasmania. 35 people got murdered around the same year, actually. They did a buyback program, and I think 700,000 guns got handed in, and the government paid people for them. They've not had a mass shooting like that since Hobart. So, it's different culture. America.
Are you more open to it now?
Well, no. What I would say is this: America has 400 million guns in circulation. Neither Britain nor Australia had more than a tiny fraction.
But with all the knife crimes that's going on in London,
we have a problem with knife crime.
Okay, but why do you think you have a knife crime problem?
Too many knives in use on the streets. I mean, I would make the punishment for being caught with a knife on the street extremely punitive.
But we have a lot. We probably have more knives than you guys have. How come you don't have a lot of knives?
You have a gun violence problem. We have a knife crime problem.
What is the ratio of the knife to gun problem
in the UK?
Yeah,
we have hardly any gun violence at all.
No. What I'm saying is the number of knife crime problems in the UK compared to the gun crime problems that we have in the US.
Oh, well,
what's the ratio?
Oh, well, I think you have still between 80 and 90,000 people a year in America die from gun from guns. That includes suicide, which is a large number of that, but it also includes homicides and accidents. The UK has a tiny, tiny fraction of gun, but also the knife victims would be a tiny fraction of that. So we're talking a very, very small percentage of your gun deaths a year.
If you were to be the prime minister, would you consider opening up and having folks in UK have guns, or you have zero tolerance?
Well, I think it's interesting. There are lots of aspects of that gun debate I had here where I understood the American viewpoint. I mean, Jay Leno said to me, Piers, it's like you're going to Germany and lecturing them every night on television about speeding too fast on the Autobahn, right? They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it from you, and they definitely don't want to hear it from your accent.
Safe to drive 150 an hour.
Right.
Get the hell out.
And he said, look, the smart crowd know you're right. He said, because too many people get killed. He said, but most Germans wouldn't want to hear it from you, and they definitely don't want to hear it from your accent. I get it, okay? This was not a debate that could be led by a British accent. However, I would simply put this caveat out there. And I wish I'd made the debate actually about gun safety, not gun control. I think the word control to the average American is total anathema. It's like a warning sign goes off, and I get that. But I do think in a country with over 400 million guns in circulation, with the amount of gun deaths you have a year and general gun violence, you have an almost unique cultural issue with guns in America, which never gets tackled at all. 1 million new guns get sold every month in America. So the number of guns in circulation rises exponentially all the time. And it's logical to assume that the number of gun deaths will rise exponentially too, in line with the amount of guns in circulation. My targets were never law-abiding, peaceful people who want to use guns for shooting. My brother was a British Army colonel, one of the best shots in the army. I don't think you get shooting for sport or in the military or any controlled environment. The problem is when you have it in such open usage in civilian usage, to me, that I get the self-defense thing, particularly if everybody else has a gun. But at some point, I do think the amount of mass shootings you have in America, at some point there has to be a mature, non-confrontational debate about what actually as a society can be done to make things safer. Let's use the word safety, not control, and let it not be a Brit like me that leads this debate. Let it be Americans having a debate amongst themselves in a way that can remain calm and rational and simply focused on reducing the number of people who get killed by guns.
Have you had Alex Jones on since that?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
So you guys have done stuff together.
Yeah,
Okay.
my issue with him was actually, a lot of it was performative, but my issue with him was the defamation case brought against him by the Sandy Hook families. It emerged in the case that there were graphs that showing that every time he went on the airwaves to lie about the Sandy Hook thing being staged and the families being behind it, two things would happen. One, there'd be a massive spike in his earnings, and we're talking tens of millions of dollars were coming into him every time he did this on the airwaves. They showed how that worked. And secondly, you would have people then believing this who would go to gravesides and they would urinate on the graves of the child victims. And I'm sorry, to me, that's just unconscionable that someone would do that. And this idea that he didn't know that he was spewing lies is bullshit. Of course he knew. So he was deliberately perpetrating a lie about Sandy Hook being staged to make money, and in doing so, endangering the lives of all those people. I interviewed those families. I just think it's unconscionable. I had an argument with Elon Musk about it because he was going to come on my show, and he pulled it at the last minute because he found a clip that someone sent him of me criticizing him for allowing Alex Jones back on the platform. You may remember when he bought Twitter, he said he was going to keep Jones off the platform because he didn't like the way he danced on the graves of children. I agree with him, and I was disappointed when he let him come back on because I think that his whole business model was telling deliberate lies about grieving families.
You're disappointed he let him back on.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. By the way, you've had Ben on, you've had Candace on, have you had Tucker on? You've done stuff with Tucker as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think about what's going on right now, especially this week? Ben Shapiro comes out, makes the video about the fact that Tucker had Nick Fuentes on and makes a 41-minute video calling him out and how dare you have somebody that's celebrating Stalin and Hitler and all this other stuff. Where's your position with everything that's going on within the Republican influencer party?
Really interesting. I like a lot of them. I get on very well with Tucker, with Candace, with Ben, always have done. I've never met or interviewed Fuentes. My only issue was Tucker gave me, we met in Riyadh in the desert by chance. We were both speaking at the same event earlier this year. And we did a 90-minute interview on each other's shows. Me interviewing him, then him going after me. When he went after me, if you watch it back, it was very entertaining, very enjoyable. It was a good old, tussle. But a bit like when he went after Ted Cruz and stuff, he held nothing back going after me and Ted Cruz. But with Fuentes, I just felt he was oddly, not doing that. And so the question then becomes for me, well, why wouldn't you go after someone like Fuentes? The stuff he said on the record is so appalling in many cases. There's so much stuff that as an interviewer, you have to go after him about. So my criticism was not that he platformed him. Tucker he's right. He can platform anybody he likes. It's one of the biggest platforms in the world. My only criticism was, why didn't you give him as hard a time as he gave me?
I think that's fair. I think that's fair I'm doing that. But so you would house Nick Fuentes?
Well, I think in light of all the controversy about him, it'd be quite interesting to get him on my show and actually do an uncensored number on him, where I go after him about a lot of the stuff he said on the record. I think now it's...
You would lose your Jewish donors though, if you do that. So I just want to prepare you for it.
I don't care about things like that.
You're going to lose that kind of stuff.
I never care about any financial impact to anything I do. I think you've got to be intellectually honest in this game. I think you are when I watch you.
And I appreciate that. You know what I would say? When I think about our jobs, what we do, versus think about the nonprofit job. Yeah. The nonprofit job, guys are giving you a few $1 million. They're not going to get anything in return because they support the cause. Mm. So imagine if all of a sudden you're like, well, like Heritage, we are, no matter what they tell us, we're going to protect and be for Tucker forever. And then the next day, listen, we were a little bit inappropriate with our comments and we have changed our position because the donors threatened to walk out. So that charity, the nonprofit sector is a slippery slope because you worry about losing that $4 million fund, the $2 million fund, the $3 million guy that's going to take the money away.
I had this kind of debate about the platforming with people like Andrew Tate and stuff, and Candace Owens when I platformed. And I kind of evolved my view a little bit to the degree that I think that these people have huge, huge followings. You can either pretend they don't, or you can accept they do.
Yeah.
And they either have an unchallenged platform of their own to just say whatever they want to say. Take with Candace, for example, I've had a couple of big bust-ups with her about this ridiculous assertion that Brigitte Macron is a man, right? I think it's 100% bullshit. I think she knows it is, but she's now being sued by Brigitte Macron, who will probably prove very easily she's a woman in court, and Candace will lose, but I'm sure spin it into some kind of Pyrrhic victory, and that's her business. But if I have her on, I challenge her about it. We have a proper old ding-dong about it. And actually, I do think that probably society and democracy is better served by having people who have big, big followings, give them a platform, but challenge them. That should be the challenge for everybody. I do that with anyone, but I just think having people who've got very contentious views on where you don't challenge them, that's an abrogation of your duty as a platformer. Because otherwise, what are you really doing? You're just giving them more oxygen for views. And if you don't agree with them, I thought it was very interesting when Tucker went after Ted Cruz and said, well, what's the population of Iran? He didn't know. It was a viral moment, and we all thought that was a brilliant moment. But you do think, well, why was there no viral moment like that out of your 2-hour interview with Fuentes? I can guarantee there would be if I was with Fuentes. He'd probably give me some hammer too. Fine, fair enough. I can take it. But I do think he needs to be challenged. Fuentes has a massive following, increasingly influential amongst young men in particular, as does Andrew Tate. I've interviewed Tate a few times, and I think I hold his feet to the fire, and he gives it back. And actually, young people who watch it, who maybe have a view of him that is unchallengeable from his own arena, see him being challenged, can maybe change their views.
Who did you interview in UK when you walked on the streets, you went to restaurants, people said, I cannot believe you put him on platform? Who was the number one person that you got criticism in the streets?
Probably Andrew Tate.
Above everybody.
I think so, yeah. He's the most divisive figure that I interview on a more regular basis, yeah. And it's a tricky one, I'd sort of buy into Tucker's thing that you should, if you had got a platform, you should be able to interview who the hell you like. I mean, when he did Putin, for example, he got a lot of stick for doing it, but would any journalist turn down the chance of interviewing Vladimir Putin? And if you're honest, would you go to Moscow and then start haranguing him to his face? Probably not. So, I would probably say I'll interview Mr. I can't even go there because I'm on his sanctions list. But if I said, look, next time you're in Washington or London, I'll do an interview with you. I'd probably feel more comfortable because then you can ask him tougher questions.
This is who? Tate?
No, Putin.
Oh, Putin.
Yeah.
So have you reached out to want to sit down with?
Yeah, we've had no from him.
Yeah, he's getting no from him. Yeah.
I did Zelensky in Kyiv. That was a good interview.
Yeah, he would be interesting. But by the way, where are you at with, the Epstein story? And the reason why the Epstein story is interesting with you is Prince Andrew,
well, he's not
UK,
prince.
family.
He's not a prince.
No, he's not a prince anymore. They changed
Andrew,
it. We have to even say the name correctly, which what do we call him the other day, Rob? It was like a full-on name. That
Andrew Mountbatten?
Yeah, Andrew Mountbatten, yeah. So, with all this stuff over the years, what's your position with who Epstein was?
I think he was a predatory pedophile. I think that he operated with other people who knew that these girls were underage and were happy to abuse them. I've interviewed David Boies, who was Virginia Giuffre's lawyer and represented many of the other victims. He's seen the files. He thinks there are 6 to a dozen high-profile men named in them who should potentially face criminal prosecution, which begs the question, why do we not know who those people are? Why are they not being prosecuted? In Andrew's case, I had a view about this early on, which was you could legitimately say, if you knew Epstein before his conviction for pedophilia, you could legitimately, I think, with your head held high, say, or with credibility, say, I didn't know anything about that, but the moment I found out about it, I never saw him again. Okay? There are people that did that. Donald Trump, I think, is one of the people who had nothing more to do with him after his conviction for being a pedophile with a 14-year-old girl. Anyone who didn't do that is willingly continuing to consort with a convicted pedophile. Very different credibility stakes. Andrew's problem, and his wife, Sarah Ferguson, ex-wife, had the same problem, was they made public declarations that we never saw him again after a certain time. And then the US Congress has been going through all the files and releasing emails in drops which have contradicted those claims. It's now clear that Andrew and his ex-wife continued to have contact with Epstein way after they publicly said, I disowned him. And so they were caught lying, which is why it's now spiraled in the last few weeks to where Andrew has now been effectively deroyaled by his brother, the king, because the king had no option. And also, if we already know he's lying, what more is coming down the pipe from these Congress leaks? I mean, who knows, right? So it could get worse for Andrew before it gets any better. He might well end up in a courtroom. The FBI are desperate to interview him under oath. I don't think he has any chance of ever making any return to any form of public life if he doesn't go under oath to the authorities and say everything he knows. I think he's been lying. I think he obviously knew Virginia Giuffre. I think he obviously did have sex with her. I think that he has been very disingenuous about all that. And I think he's now been shamed and disgraced and everything else. But he hasn't been brought to any criminal account. And many people will feel that he should be.
How embarrassing do you think this is for the family? Do you think this is
hugely.
something where the family is sitting there saying, because this is a different challenge than Harry and Megyn Markle, right?
There's no comparison.
Right.
Harry and Megyn are annoying little grifters who now use their royal status to trash the royal family, trash the monarchy, and make millions of dollars. I don't like what they do. I think it's horrible. Particularly
how miserable you think Harry is right now?
Oh, he looks completely...
Do you think he really is happy in love,
No.
being in a...
He looks like a doped out misery guts to me. And I just think it's the full reality. I mean, look, who could be happy when you're estranged from all your family? And she's estranged from hers, by the way, too, apart from her mother. Her father lives 50 miles away, has never met her husband or her 2 kids. He's the guy that brought her up on his own for 8 years, remember? It's a very weird story, the whole thing. But I think, look, the level of what they've done, Andrew's on a different class, higher, of shame he's brought on the family. There's a big difference between being grifters, making money out of trashing a family, and actually being actively involved in one of the worst pedophile scandals of modern times with this guy, Jeffrey Epstein. And I think that we don't know the full story yet about Andrew, but we may well find out through the criminal process that's ongoing.
What do you think is more likely? Andrew being innocent, going back in the family, becoming a prince again, or Harry leaving Megyn, going back, apologizing, and being received again?
Well, Andrew will never be a prince again. That ship has definitely sailed. I don't think he'll ever go to America and be interviewed, so he'll never clear his name either. I think he'll live a life of shame as a pariah. I think it's more. I mean, look, who knows about Harry and Meghan? I think they kind of deserve each other. They're kind of joined at the hip now in their situation. But almost everything they do is so cack-handed. Like the other day, they went to the baseball. She posts some cringe video of her dancing up
Rob,
and
do you
down.
have this?
Yeah, I mean,
can you play this? This has got to be the worst fake celebration thing I've seen in my life. And you met her before, right? You and Megyn had
I actually met her once, but I followed 4 of them on Suits. I used to love watching Suits, and I followed 4 of the characters. And she immediately direct messaged me, which was quite telling looking back on it, saying...
She DM'd you?
Yeah, oh my God, I'm your biggest fan, blah, all this kind of stuff, within about 5 minutes, right? So her and another guy called Rick Hoffman, who played Lewis Litt, who was her big friend on the show. The 3 of us then used to exchange messages, all just quite fun. They'd send me clips from future episodes and so on. And then she said, I'm coming to London, can we meet up for a drink? I went, sure. Took her to my local pub. Actually got on very well. I thought she was very nice. And she was very great, really enjoyed it, sent the pictures to Rick back in wherever he was. All very nice with her. And then bang, suddenly never heard from her again. Never heard from him either, Rick Hoffman, who neither of them were known in the UK. I was like, who are you two little, what's happened, right? And then, of course, I see the story about Harry, and I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. But Hoffman, you disowned me as a friend of the person now. Yeah. Well, no, he actually was quite funny. He sent me a grovelling message. I've still got it. Grovelling message the day after the wedding, which he attended, saying, Piers, I'm so sorry. I hope you understand. It's all been so difficult. I was like, I'll do fuck off. So, but anyway, look, it turned out she had a pattern of basically disowning every single person from her life, including her father, who might somehow be a problem, because obviously Harry hates the papers. I used to run a tabloid paper. I got that. But she just wanted to cut loose anybody. We saw it with friends and family and ex-husbands and so on. Anyone that might be a problem for her world plan, which was getting her claws into a British royal prince, yanking him back to California, making hundreds of millions. And we've seen how the rest has played out.
Was the conversation was it flirty with the two of you, or no? Was it just like a meeting, nothing crazy?
No. People try to paint it as that. It's so funny. I mean, just look at pictures of my wife.
No, I get that. I'm just saying because this is them, Rob, at the baseball deal celebrating the Dodgers.
Yeah, I believe this their home theater.
Oh my, press it.
Oh my God, I can't. It's like geese. Like geese being attacked. Oh my God. Absolutely.
Okay, about how many times do you think they did that? That's take 3 or take 8?
One of them. Also,
what do you think that is?
Also, he's now given an apology for wearing a Dodgers cap. You see him there in the Dodgers cap. So why is he sitting there miserable and her gloating, given that the week before he'd been at one of the World Series games in a Dodgers cap in the Dodger owner's dugout? None of it makes any sense. Now, suddenly a week later, he's sitting there miserable because the Dodgers have won.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, she to me is one of the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Cringe, annoying, narcissist. Yeah. She has to be the combination of those 3. Yeah. I don't know anybody more annoying than her. But, and what's challenging is she's attractive. Well, you look at that personality, you wonder if you go on a date, if you married her, what would happen? Don't do that again. Put your hand over here. Hold me. Why don't you hold me tighter? Come closer. I don't like your mother. There's something about your dad. There's something about your sister. There's something about you. I need you to stop talking to that person. I don't think it's inappropriate. You make me feel this. Awful. You make me feel small. Awful. Oh, I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you, sweetheart. This is going to be an incredible romantic journey we're going to go on. By the way, crazy question. When you were on, was it Britain's Got Talent or America's Got? You did both of them, right? You did both for like 6 years or whatever the timeline was. There's one of them I saw, and I have to ask you this. Can you go up all the way to the part? And it's this is one of my favorite ones, okay? And go back a little bit, go right there. Okay, no, go 10 seconds. So you know which one this is, okay? Shaheen.
Oh, yeah.
He crushes, right? And they put him up, and he comes in, he sings the song, and then all of a sudden, Simon says, no, we got it all wrong, right? And I'm sure they're not going to let us have this in the clip. But played Rob from here, so he comes on, press play, incredible voice.
He wanted everything to always feel spontaneous.
So why do you smile? What do you think is going on here? Because he comes out, this guy.
Well, I'm smiling because I've seen Simon stop people before, and he always had a fixed idea of the kind of, you could hear someone sing. You've got an amazing intuitive ability to do this, where he'd hear someone sing in particular, and he would know that the type of song they were singing was not showing off their range properly. So he was often saying, look, why don't you just try a different type of song?
And he crushes.
And sometimes they come back and it would be a disaster. And that's why I'm like holding my head going, this kid's great, Simon, don't do that to this kid. But then, of course, he was great.
So this has nothing to do with the fact that it's set up, because he comes back, he does Michael Jackson.
Yeah, it's great.
And then from there, they love his voice so much that he ends up performing at his funeral, a year later, whatever the timeline is. Yeah. So right after this, you come down, and I think you get Larry King's job after this, right? So how does that happen?
Well, actually, no. In between, I won Celebrity Apprentice, which is where I meet Donald Trump.
Okay.
So I was doing NBC's America's Got Talent, and they also then launched the first season of Celebrity Apprentice, which was the celeb version of the regular Apprentice show. And I immediately got on well with Trump. And of course, I spent about 100 hours in the boardroom opposite him. So I got to know him very, very well because I was there right to the end, and then I won. And when I won, I remember him saying in the live finale, he said, Piers, he said, you're tough, you're vicious, you're probably brilliant, I'm not sure. He said, but you beat the hell out of everybody. You're my Celebrity Apprentice. So when he won the presidency, years later, this is 2008, 2016, he becomes president, or 2016. And I said to him, a note. I said, dear Donald, I said, you're tough, you're vicious, you're probably brilliant, I'm not sure, but you beat the hell out of everybody. You're the president of the United States.
Did he get it?
Oh, yeah. He rang me straight away. We had a brilliant conversation. And he was like, he said, can you believe the journey we've been on? In fact, he said it again. I rang him the morning after I put this in my book. The morning after he won. So he wins at like 2 a.m., makes his victory speech, goes to bed. Now, I know he never sleeps, but I was like, I bet even by his standards, he's sleep deprived. So I thought, I'll just leave it. Rang him at 9 in the morning on his cell phone. And it rang and rang around. And eventually, this very sleepy horse, Piers, can you believe this? And I went, actually, I can. It's amazing. Complete clean sweep. And he said, can you believe the journey again? The journey we've been on? I said, with all due respect, Mr. President, you've been on a slightly bigger journey than me. I've gone from judging piano-playing pigs to winning your show, to replacing Larry King, to a morning show, and now doing a YouTube channel. You have gone from making me your Celebrity Apprentice to becoming President of the United States twice, and it's been an unbelievable. So I have a long time I've had of being a friend of Donald Trump's. I see the good, bad, and ugly in him, but overall, I think he is a force for good. And I think this time around, what you're seeing is somebody who thought really carefully about all the things he didn't get right the first time round, and the people he had around him in particular. If I had a lot of disloyal people first time, you can notice this time there's hardly any briefing against him internally. Very loyal group of people he has. And I think they're on a mission to, knowing the midterms are coming after 2 years, you get basically a 2-year window, which is why he's gone so fast at stuff, to try and really entrench Trumpism into making America great again. And we'll see how successful he ends up being. But I certainly think there's more good and bad than bad in Trump. And I think people who try and over-demonize him, call him a new Hitler and so on, it's so fatuous and ridiculous and so self-harming. All it did in the end was get him reelected.
Yep. Big name. By the way, your book that's coming out, folks, before we talk about your book, Woke is Dead, I want to play a clip for you. Do you know what your most viewed clip is on YouTube? Don't go to it. Let's first see if you can guess. Do you know what your most? It's a short.
Really?
Do you know this or no?
It's not the one from Baby Reindeer, is it?
No.
Okay, which one is it?
This is. It may be Baby Reindeer. Yeah, it may be played rap. This is your most viewed clip, 58 million views, and I think this is appropriate to play this.
Yeah.
Because this goes right into your book, Rob. If you have it, press play.
So triggered by a flag.
Tell
It's
you
a
what
rainbow
problem.
flag.
I'm not triggered by a rainbow flag. I'm triggered by the fact that everywhere I go for a calendar month, everything has to be a rainbow flag.
Well, I'm triggered that everywhere I go for the entire year, everything has to be straight. Why is straight
Where's
everywhere?
my straight flag?
Why am I constantly
Where
getting
is
straight?
my straight flag? When have you ever seen a straight flag? Where's my straight flag?
It's everywhere.
There's never been a straight flag.
Both of you are straight, and you're saying you're exhausted.
How do you know I'm straight? How dare you guess my straight flag?
Let's not play games here.
How many letters are there now in the
That's such
initials?
a pointless question.
How many are there?
I don't even know.
How many are there?
I don't need
exactly
to know.
my point.
I don't need to know because it's not about
There
the
are so
letters.
many letters now, we can't keep up with
It's
it.
not.
You can pause it right there, Rob. So what's crazy about this, that leads to your book, Woke is Dead.
Yeah.
How common sense triumphant in an age of total madness. Why'd you choose to write this book?
Because I felt in a way that Trump's re-election was the ultimate repudiation of a really insidious thing, this woke mind virus, as Elon Musk calls it, which for years had kind of dominated our lives. It was best described to me, an Australian woman came up to me in the street in London. She said, Mr. Morgan, I hope you don't mind me interrupting your walk, she said, but keep it these wokies. They're the most joyless people in the world. They want to suck all the joy out of life. And I was like, God, what a brilliant description. Because if you think about it, the woke disciples wake up every day. They don't find any joke funny. They don't think we should be watching half of the TV shows we like, the movies we like. We shouldn't be revering the historical figures we revere. They want to tell us how to talk, how to dress, what things we can wear and culturally appropriate and inappropriate, and so on and so on. It's a constant scolding, but also it's laced with a very nasty streak, particularly from those who have "be kind" hashtags in their bios, I've noticed, where they're the most vicious people. And anyone who deviates from their kind of woke worldview has to be shamed, vilified, scolded, destroyed, cancelled. And as we saw, ultimately, if you call everybody who disagrees with a fascist, even when they're not, and you have this sort of narrow prism, which people don't follow it, they have to be cancelled, you end up with deranged minds doing what the shooter did with Charlie Kirk. There's a direct line that goes from that kind of thinking where you only allow one type of opinion. And the irony of someone like Charlie Kirk, who openly welcomed other opinions, would openly debate with anybody. He would go onto these campuses with thousands of people who didn't agree with him and say, come on, prove me wrong. Right? It's hard to imagine a better standard bearer for actual free speech in a democratic society than someone like Charlie Kirk. And he would listen to them with respect and everything else. And for that, he got a bullet, which killed him. And he got it from someone who put anti-fascist slogans on the bullets because he believed Charlie Kirk was a fascist because that's what everyone had told him. And he didn't like what Charlie Kirk says and believes. That is fascism. That's the irony. These people became the new fascists.
So true. It is so true. I'm fully with you, and I'm so glad you wrote this book. Folks, if you haven't placed the order yet, go click on a link below, order the book. Support this message. God knows we need more of this message spreading around the world with the madness we experienced the last 5 years, and not thinking it's over with because it's still there. We still got some fight to do. We were showing a video earlier today of a lady who goes to Gold's Gym, and she's in the gym, and this guy's hanging out with his dangling hanging out. She's like, what are we doing? I'm just trying to work out. I'm a woman, and she's a lesbian woman in the bathroom, so it's still there in certain pockets of the world.
And she got banned.
And she got banned, and the guy... who
ridiculous.
Apparently his name is Alexis, whatever his name is, Grant or Alexis, I don't know what his name is, but he was allowed to stay in the gym and not the other way around. He went back into the women's bathroom. Piers, great to have you on. As usual, it's always a good conversation.
I love talking to you.
I love the fact that it's this way around.
Yes.
So I want to learn more about where you're at as well.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Likewise. Appreciate you.
Great to see you.
Thank you. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye. When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless.
Trump is a weenie.
Trump is a weenie?
Yeah, Trump, name 3 bar fights we know Trump done had.
So you would rather have Mike Tyson as a president than Trump?
No, Mike Tyson's stupid. Yeah, pow!
Nobody has a clue what you're going to say. You're so unpredictable.
The Democrats are a very clever slave master. They went and recruited the gays. That's Sergeant Dick Van Dyke. The worst thing we could have done to our military is don't ask, don't tell. Now, we asking, and you tell us.
You give me the feeling that you watch a lot of WNBA. Is that true? Like, are you
I hate the WNBA.
Really?
Lesbian women are not entertaining. Go get some hoes that can play basketball. They supposed to be playing in what she got on right there. They should have uniforms.
Oh, you're saying for them to wear plain lingerie?
Yeah, in heels, run up and down them, click-clacking in them heels.
Very strategic. People you'd want to meet, who would it be?
I want to meet the leader, the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan.
Wow.
Planned Parenthood is our new Hitler, our new Nazi group.
Tell me about it.
that's exterminating strictly black people.
What do you think about Diddy?
He's innocent. I seen that
She's
video.
running.
She's stealing his bag. Give me my bag. Where you going? Get her.
You're thinking.
You get on back in here.
You think this is okay?
Yeah. In the ghetto, this is normal. Fighting and fucking the makeup. Best orgasms in the world. They make songs about it.
Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
Bet David.
My handshake is better than anything I ever saw. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right there.
I don't think I've ever said this before.
Charleston White, how you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. How you doing today?
Very good. We're finally doing this, huh? We're
Yes,
sitting
sir.
down talking.
I think your team and my management been talking probably almost a year to make this happen. So yeah.
Well, like I told you earlier when he came in, I said, I wish you knew how many people here consume your content. They love what you have to say, because I think one of the things that's most interesting about you is anybody can ask you any question and nobody has a clue what you're going to say. You're so unpredictable.
I don't like to know. I like to be ambushed in interviews.
You like to be ambushed in interviews?
Yeah, I don't like to know what's going to be asked. I like to be ambushed because I can give you an explanation for everything I've said.
Yeah.
You may not agree with it.
Yeah.
But there's a reason behind it.
Right.
So I'm just not on here saying things. So I like to be put under pressure. And
Have you
put to the
always
fire.
been like this?
Yes, sir.
Since you were a kid?
I fell in the washing machine when I was 5 years old. I snuck
you
outside.
fell in the washing machine?
I fell in the washing machine when I was 5 years old.
Intentionally, or somebody pushed you?
I fell in. I was getting ready to jump off.
Yeah.
So my mother was upstairs asleep. I snuck outside, me and my cousin. We went to the laundromat. I was jumping up and down on the washer and fell in as the cycle was on spin.
Holy shit.
So I broke everything from my waist down. So I was immobile for probably almost 2 years. Just laying on my back in a body cast. At the age of 5 years old, I learned how to walk in a body cast with a full body cast. Just
at 5 to 7 years old?
Yeah. And then I put my eye out at 8 or 9.
How'd you do that?
Playing with a homemade slingshot. So I took a pencil, a rubber band, got ready to shoot the rubber band, and the pencil flicked back and poked me in the eye.
Laughing. It's
that's what we did.
And this is where? This is in Fort Worth?
This is in Fort Worth, yeah. So I fell in the washing machine at 5, had to learn how to rewalk again. So by 8 or 9, I done injured my eye. I was a very ambitious kid, adventurous, but in some household, they might say that's a bad child. He won't sit his butt down nowhere. So there's adjectives and traits that a kid gets, but a jacket will get placed on him because he's always in the shit, he's breaking stuff. Yeah. So I was that kid that was always in the stuff as well as hurt myself. So they labeled me as being injured prone. He always gonna hurt himself. I was just a braveheart to jump off a building, and that's what boys did.
And are you from a big family, a lot of brothers?
I'm from a big, it was just me and my brother, but I got a lot of cousins.
You got a lot of cousins.
Yeah, I got a lot of cousins.
And are you older brother or younger brother?
I'm the younger. I'm the baby.
You're the baby.
Yeah, I'm the mascot of the family.
You're the mascot of the family. Okay, so then what happened? I think at 14 years old, you got in trouble at 14 years old.
Yeah. So I spent from age 8 to 9. I had 9 eye surgeries. So I'm like an institutionalized kid, except I wasn't institutionalized in prison. I was institutionalized in the hospitals because I was always injured and having surgery. So you got to think I had 9 eye surgeries. So I never really got to go to school a whole full school year, probably up into the 6th, 7th grade. I had a private tutor really up until like the 3rd or 4th grade because I'm always in. So I was directly taught one-on-one. So that's why at times you may say, oh, he seemed very educational, articulate. Well, I was reading books at a very early age in life.
What were you reading?
One of the first books that I can recall reading, but don't remember reading it, but I know the information about John Brown. So when I first broke my leg, my mother hired this young, pretty white tutor that used to come tutor me throughout the day. That's where I started having crushes on white women from.
From this tutor?
From the tutor, yeah.
Now, did anything happen between you and the tutor?
Well, I was 5 years old. But as a kid, you have a crush on your teacher.
But now later on in life, you guys haven't linked up?
I don't even know who she is to this day. Yeah. She's a ghost. She's like a ghost, an angel.
But a beautiful ghost.
Well, all I remember is she was very pretty. She was very compassionate, nurturing, and kind.
And so your tutor's the reason why you like white girls?
That and my daddy.
What, your daddy?
He had a white woman. Yeah, my daddy had a white woman. And the only time that I can ever remember spending a weekend with my dad, she was there. He was going to work, so it was me and her. She was very loving, very kind. So that's all I knew. So when my mother, when we started going into the middle class neighborhoods, my mother worked at General Motors in the early 80s, the blue collar workers, the backbone of America. So the middle class was very vibrant and thriving. So I didn't grow up in a Section 8 community. I grew up in a middle class neighborhood.
In Fort Worth?
In the suburb of Fort Worth. I was born in Fort Worth, but I grew up in Arlington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was born in Fort Worth, but I grew up in Arlington.
I used to live in Plano for 5 years.
Okay, so I've never seen violence in the community. I've never seen...
As a kid?
As a kid, I've never seen it.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never seen my mother get beat up, jumped. I've never seen it. I've never seen people shoot guns. I only saw it on television.
Unbelievable. So what happened at 14?
Watching television. Me and so let me just, I had a little man complex. Small guy. So you gotta think, fall in the washing machine, so my legs is real skinny, can't play football, had to learn how to re-walk again. Mom is overly protective, I might hurt myself again, but I can play football fast, and I'm a Braveheart. Then I put my eye out. So now that limits me from playing basketball, so now they treat me like a handicap. That's what make me start rebel. Man, I ain't no handicap. Because in my mind, because I lost my eye so early, the human body can adjust and adapt.
Right.
It's a three-legged dog can. So I became a three-legged dog that can still bark and fight and scrap with the other dog. But I had a secretly inferiority complex, insecure about my eye. So you couldn't ask me, what's wrong with your eye? I sock you in your eye. To teach everybody else, don't bother me about my eye. I didn't know how to deal with the insecurity as a kid, right? So a lot of times I would hide behind it as an excuse. Start some shit and say, man, he was talking about my eye. So
you were an instigator.
Yeah, I was a shit starter. Very, very, very much so. But with no hate. You always got a kid that's always antagonized. Yeah. I was antagonistic, like I am on the internet now. So that was a childhood trait. So I was very smart, articulate in school, always did well, but I just couldn't play well with others. I'm a natural born leader. And because I'm small, I have to stand up to big guys who think, so the small guy is always the leader out of the groups. Napoleon was. Big guys ain't hard as a leader until you go to prison.
Really?
Yeah.
Trump is tall. You don't think like,
Trump is a weenie.
Trump is a weenie.
Yeah, Trump. Name 3 bar fights we know Trump done had.
Well, no, he said in an interview with Logan Paul he's never been in a fist fight.
That's what I'm talking about. He's a weenie.
So you think if you've never been in a fist fight...
As a man,
yeah.
You don't have no physical strength and ability to defend yourself as a man with no weapons. You got to have some kind of skills, or you a weenie.
Really?
What if you got a wife and kids, and you can't, and somebody messing with your wife at the restaurant, and you ain't got your gun on you, and you ain't never been punched in the nose? How you know you can take a punch? Talking shit.
Interesting. So you think if someone's never been punched in the face, they're not qualified to be a president?
No. Especially when you got world leaders like Putin. Putin came up in the KGB, early days of it. He's worked his way up through the ranks. And it's documented he have killed people. Trump ain't never killed nobody. We need leaders, the generals of the army and military men to match our world leader. That's why don't nobody respect our leaders. These are politician men that couldn't play football, wasn't high school jocks, that was nerds and barking like they men to the world. They weenies. You don't have no hand-to-hand comeback skills as a man, but you want to stand before all these other men who are trained mixed martial artists from Kim Jong-un. Man, they'll kick our ass.
So you would rather have Mike Tyson as a president than Trump?
No, Mike Tyson's stupid. Mike Tyson's stupid. He's been hit in the head too many times. So I grew up in the boys' home. In the boys' home, I spent 14 to 21. I think throughout those 7 years, I probably had 20 fights.
Wow.
20 fights. Before then, I was the kid who my cousin say, wait till my little cousin come over here. I'm going to get him on you. So they bring me over there because I was a brave heart. As a kid, size really don't matter if you're brave.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have the rationale to be afraid when you're brave.
That's true. Yeah,
as a kid.
I agree, fully.
So I was a brave heart. How I got in trouble is wanting to fit in with the older guys. My mom's at work. When I get out of school, my mom's going to work. She worked at General Motors. She worked the night shift.
Got it.
She got dinner on the stove. She giving us instructions. Leave your homework out. wash them dishes. Don't go outside. Don't answer the door for nobody. I'm gonna call at these times. Make sure y'all answer them call. And so when she got home and we didn't do that, she'll wake us up out our sleep. I thought I told y'all. So she tried to be a disciplinary, but she was a single mother who had to go to work. When she went to work, we outside.
Got it.
With no parental supervision.
In Arlington.
In Arlington.
So who were the older guys you hung out with that taught you something?
My older cousins, my brother's friends. And then once I started gravitating in middle school, because of the culture. So we went from wearing MC Hammer pants.
Yep.
The baggy MC Hammer with the Giorgio Brutini shoe with the gold tips on them. We went from doing that to abruptly from wearing polka dot shirts, silk shirts, pumps in the bunch, bikini draws, like to Dickies and Killers now.
That's right.
We abruptly did that.
I remember Dickies. Cortez.
There you go.
Yep.
That's so I remember 7th grade. I had the elite shoes with fur around them.
Yep.
The Jabot jeans. Summer of I think 1989 when Colors came out, and we got introduced to
what a great movie.
Man, what a great movie. What a legend movie. When we got introduced to that, it sowed a seed throughout America. Just like Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, Scarface, The Birth of a New Nation. Movies like that, yeah. So that was one of those kind of movies. And children shouldn't have watched it.
Colors.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you're saying those movies brought bad habits to good neighborhoods.
The Birth of a New Nation did. That's where the Ku Klux Klan formed from.
Got it.
And got even stronger after that movie.
So are you hanging out with troublemakers in Arlington, or are you watching,
I've never seen, so I'm in a suburb. So you got to think, at 5 years old, I'm in a hospital learning how to rewalk again. I'm getting a private tutor, so I'm not outside playing.
Right.
I'm physically disabled.
Right.
Soon as I get ready to play, boom, I put my eye out. So at 9 years, so from 5 to 8, I got a little 3-year time span. But 2 of those years, I'm learning how to rewalk again. So 1 year, I finally get to play with kids as a regular kid. Boom, put my eye out. 9 eye surgeries from the age 8 to 12. So I get my eye took out like 5th grade. I got the prosthetic lens put in 6th grade. But my first part of my 6th grade year, I had a patch on. There go the inferiority complex.
Yeah.
So
what were people calling you after? Because kids can be brutal in 6th grade.
No. I don't hurt nothing because I'm going to hit the first person in their mouth. All you have to do is make an example out of one person before many people. The police do it, your slave masters do it, the job do it. All you got to do is make an example out of one before many, and word travels. Nothing spreads like word of mouth. Many hit him in his eye, man. So who wants to mess with a person that don't talk and pow? So that was my defense mechanism. And I knew I could get away with it because he was talking about my eye, mama. That's all I had to say. So I had a cop out. I learned how to use a cop out at an early age in life.
Do you think that's a common pattern, or how did you learn it? Did somebody teach you, or do you think you just had it?
Resiliency and wherewithal from feeling what you're feeling.
Did your brother also have it, or you had it more than he did?
What's that?
The ability to manipulate and feel like a victim so you were forgiven.
My brother got caught for everything.
He got caught with everything.
He got caught for doing wrong. I was a very charismatic child. So charisma go a long way, even when you're lying.
What month's your birthday?
May 17, 1977.
Interesting.
So I'm a borderline Gemini, full-blooded Taurus. But I was an honest kid. So if you press me too much, I will come out and tell the truth, even to this day. If my woman said, did you do it? Did you do it? If I happen to keep lying, I feel like a coward. Yeah, I did it. Fuck it. Yeah, I did it. She can get it out of it if you keep pressing me.
Got it.
Cowards lie.
Does she get it out of you quite often?
Yeah. I'm a brutally honest man. Do you
How does
love
she
her?
handle it?
Yeah, I love her.
You tell her?
Yeah, I love her. If I love my other woman, yeah, I love my other woman. Baby, you think I look fat in it? You know you look fat in it, baby. That's why you asking me. Why you asking? Why you putting this pressure on me? You know you look fat in it. That's why you asking. So some people can handle the truth. It's the ugly truth that they can't handle. Say, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Charleston White, a.k.a. America's favorite uncle. I just signed up to Manette. So if you want to message me, you want to cuss me out, you want to fuss at me, even if you want some counseling, call me. I minister healing by way of word. You can message me directly on Manette. I promise, man, I'm going to respond directly. I ignore them DMs on Instagram. They just took my Facebook. I don't respond on YouTube. I will respond on Manette. I promise. Just call me and see. Text me.
Okay, so we're going to get back to this. At 14 years old, I read that you were hung out with some people who there was attempt on murder, convicted. What happened?
No. So my uncle had just died, who was a positive influence in our life. He died to gun violence. My mother had just became pregnant, and my little sister was born. My brother was already in and out of the juvenile facilities. And my mother was putting my brother in adolescence homes. So my mama wasn't waiting for him to be arrested. When she started seeing behavior problems, she would put him in adolescent home. That made him even more rebellious. And he big. He tall and big. He got a grown man body. So mama got to work. And we got the best life most kids could have in the middle class neighborhood. So I'm the little brother sitting back watching who everybody's overlooking because of my injuries. They don't know I'm a mother. They don't know I'm a dynamite. Only my uncles know who let me hang out with them. So, man, once I got to become a kid, I was 13 years old. I've been in the hospital, man, from 5 to 13. So once I started playing with kids, I was a natural leader. And I attracted good and bad children. My real friends didn't get in trouble. The ones I went to hang with didn't live in our neighborhood. They lived in the projects, in apartments. So, man, when I got introduced to what I call, I'm the seed of America's gangster rap culture. A little kid who'd been watching Bill Cosby, Red Fox, Fred Sanford. When my uncles get out of prison, I watched all the black exploitation films. From Dolomite, Superfly, all penitentiary. So I learned criminal activity from watching these movies, watching my uncles. And once I finally got to go out into the community, imagery have already been propagated to me. Kid watching television, So I'm mimicking what I'm seeing. So I've never seen a man come out of my mother's bedroom. I've also never seen a man get up and go to work.
You've never seen a man come out of your mama's bedroom? You've never seen a man go to work?
Yeah, I didn't know men work. I thought men were like my Uncle Curtis and my Uncle Wayne. They pimp on a woman, or they lay around all day, or earn their clothes in the middle of the day, wake up late with a joint in their mouth, fly clean, and go nowhere. The unproductive black male of the 80s. So that's what I saw. So I watched all the males in my family go to prison. From my mom's cousins, my uncles, grandmother's brothers, and I never heard anybody say anything bad about prison. So think about this. I never hear anybody say anything bad about prison. They come home and make it sound bravado. Like you're missing out on something. As if it's a rite of passage. Not only that, you're seeing it on television. So it's being reinforced either way. So we had a whole black exploitation era. So by the time, I'm an injured kid who get to watch all the television in the world in the hospital, at home. We had a VCR. So by the time I get to be a normal kid that can go outside and play, it's a new culture, gang culture. And it's trending. I remember we seen Colors our first summer. We went and got bandanas and put them in our pocket. I went and got me a pocket knife. I don't know nothing about this but what I saw on television. I didn't know how to have sex from listening to rap music. And this is in the 5th and 6th grade. There was a song by Two Live Crew called Hey, We Want Some. Yeah, so imagine stopping it, rewinding it, stopping it, so you can get every lyric. So our culture taught us, and I say this often, and people really overlook it, it's a rape culture.
Rape culture?
Yeah, hip-hop is a rape culture.
Tell me about it.
I put a Molly in her drink, and she ain't even know it. Me and my homies like to play this game. Some call it Amtrak, but some call it the train. We all would line up in a single file line and take our turns waxing girls' behinds. Every time it get to me, I was out of luck because I stick my end and it would get stuck. The girl will say stop. I say I'm not. The girl will say stop. I say I'm not. But we dance to it. There's another song. I take her back to the trap. I gave her a perk, and she ain't even know it. Then she dropped the panties. So when we watch the frat parties, what was that, Porky's Revenge? Hey, let's spike the punch. The girls don't know to spike the sponge. When we see a bunch of girls, hey, baby, let me get you a drink. Come over, let's have some drink. drink to do what? And they have sex. That's coercion. She have to have a sober mind. So that's our culture.
How did it happen?
Hollywood, entertainment. They
because it didn't
they
used to be
romanticize
like that.
it. Now they romanticize it.
When you see the videos of back in the days, African American families, suits, the way they dressed, clean, solid, strong. What got into that? You're saying purely it's hip hop and movies?
A group of teenagers that became a phenomenon like the Beatles, NWA. Not only that, you got this group that know things about crack that the rest of America don't know. They the first crack babies. They the ones told us in songs, mothers smoke crack and your friends can have sex with them. Boys in the hood is always hard. We didn't know about a strawberry. What is a strawberry? A woman who sell her body for crack. You know how many of our aunties that end up doing that? You know how many guys that was in middle school that sold dope and his best friend mom was on dope and he ended up effing his best friend mom? And now they hate each other to this day. So it wasn't just hip hop. It was the lyrical content that children was being able to have access to. This is before the parental advisory stickers. Not only that, you got this music, which if you wanna check the temperature of your youth's mentality, listen to the music. So now you got this new chemical that was made in a laboratory. Black people didn't know how to cook crack. That's a chemist method. Somebody had to teach them. By the way, government taught somebody how to do this. We watched the movie Snowfall. So when they came out of California to come spread crack throughout America, who they bring? The gangs. Throughout the South, these little small country towns who people are fascinated by California from what we've seen on television. And we emulated a culture that was more destructive than the Ku Klux Klan and the Jim Crow system.
Wow. And you're saying it was intentional?
Nobody thought it would become this. It was dismissed. There's a bunch of kids from the ghetto rapping. It was dismissed. No one could predict what crack was going to do to Black America. Nobody. Nobody could have predicted that.
What do you think about Rick Ross, the OG, not the rapper? I'm talking about the real.
He was an illiterate man who the government used as a pawn.
I had him on a podcast. We talked about it.
Yeah, he's very educated now. I like the tenacity that you have to have as an illiterate man, but he's a front. These are poor children who don't know if I get this because where we get this from? How do I know if I sell this can put me away from life and I'm not hurt nobody? I'm going to feed my family. The people coming to buy it. What black man knew when they was touching dope that this could put me away forever? They didn't even know what it would do. They didn't even know what it would do. So a lot of it was out of survival. Some of it was out of greed. But most people started selling drugs out of nature's first rule of self-preservation.
Yeah, when I had him, he was one of the biggest drug lords, by the way. He was making real money. I mean, he was an OG making a lot of money, and the way he got caught was very interesting, and how it got big. But I just pulled up a number right now. Black Americans are 13% of the population, yet they account for 37% of crack users.
It was given directly to them. Cocaine was a rich person drug. Crack is the only drug you say, hey man, I got $2, and you get your $2 hit. No other drug you can do that. The weed man don't do it. The liquor man don't do it. Crack was the heroin guy don't do it. Crack was the only drug you can come with a bunch of quarters and say, man, I got $1.50. It's not a long-term high like acids or Molly. It's a short high. But the dopamine that it feeds, it what makes it so dangerous.
How do you address it at this point? How do you address it now? Like if you
just like the first the guys who created AA and NA. You don't change that method. That method have always worked and it still work today. You can't change nothing if the person don't want to change.
Can you reverse the effects of it today?
Well, yes.
How would you do it?
Well, yes and no. Because it's just like the pandemic virus was real big and they pushed it on us, Well, since 90 to 97, all you heard about was crack babies. All they showed us what crack does to a baby. Where are they now? The crack babies done grew up and had babies. Where are they babies at? What they babies doing? They're the violent ones that we see today. That's 10, 11, 12 years old. These are the kids we are afraid of right now. Them crack baby kids. Then, if you want to put that on Black America, psychotropic drugs that white people been giving their white kids. ADHD medication. So, and then this is a group of children who are human detached from humanity because they're in the metaverse world. So they don't have the same compassion, the care, concern that regular humans should have because we have human attachments. They don't go outside to play. Most households, when I get my plate, I go over there, you go over there, mama in there. We don't eat together, so there's real no attachment. How are we going to reverse that? And we don't even have connection with our own children. We can't connect with the youth now. We're too busy fighting over Democrat and Republican, and we're losing our children. Not just by violence, by opioids, suicides. So how do you reverse it? It starts in the mirror. It starts in your mirror. When you come through washing your face, coming out the bathroom, you look around in your household and see if the bed is made up before you say something to your spouse. Then once you kind of pick up what you can pick up, then you start directing to your woman and your kids. Then you come outside and say, hey, how you doing, neighbor? But most people want to start in the world, in the community, in my city. Now start in your home. From the mirror.
I got you.
Yeah. That's how you fix your community. That's how you fix the world. Fix what you see in the mirror. Come out, look around the house. Fix what needs to be repaired in the house. Go outside and be neighborly. Hey, what's going on, neighbor?
Very interesting perspective. What's your opinion on Planned Parenthood?
Planned Parenthood is our new Hitler, our new Nazi group that's exterminating strictly black people. Because the founder of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, said this is solely to eradicate eugenics, to eradicate black babies. Why we still got it hanging around? It does nothing but abort babies. Most women who need prenatal care don't go there. Most black women don't even get prenatal care. They don't even know they're pregnant till 4 months in. Still high on drugs they were partying off of. So now Planned Parenthood should be banned. I was gonna say something inflammatory, but no, it should be banned because it serves no purpose and no justice to the community it claims it's serving.
Why do you think it's gotten as big as it's gotten? Who's supporting it? Because the way it's sold in a way that, you know, women's rights, it's good for women, and they have a pro-choice.
Man, you know how many, you know how much stem cells they get to collect? Man, yeah, they get the whole new forms of life from these aborted embryos and fetuses. They get to do tests like lab rats on humans with no oversight. We don't know what they do with those bodies, those babies. So there's no oversight, really. They get to do what they want to do. But the originator, Margaret Sanger, this was never set up to be something good. So how can you change anything's original design if you can't go back and change the design? Why abort the babies? Why not try to find the daddy? Y'all come together, get him some resources to breathe life and keep life instead of take life. Why kill the baby? If I get mad at my dog, I can't shoot him, I can't feed him, but I can go kill my baby? You'll put me in jail if I can't feed my dog no more, kill him, abandon him, and she can go kill the baby without the father's consent. She didn't make the baby by herself, so our government get this woman and this organization to kill a man's baby without his permission. How can you do that? In what world is that all right? She can go do it behind my back. I ain't got, man, what if I want to keep this life? What if we killing the next president? You don't know what we taking away from the world when you do that.
Half the population disagrees with you. Why do you think that is?
Half the population disagrees with me because we live in a society, an era But this group of Americans look at right and say right is wrong, and look at wrong and say wrong is right. I don't know how much longer we can go on because we've never been that kind of country. Even when we got here with the forefathers, they fought over slavery. They just said, hey, yeah, we go. No, they really fought over it. They spent days and months and years trying to put a forward. No, and it was people saying, no, man, we know this ain't right. Man, it's a necessary evil. Everybody been slave. But man, they fought against that. America just didn't dive in and say, okay, that's what we want to do. They really fought against that. Locked themselves in rooms like they do now. Right now, they fighting over bullshit. Man, them people, they fought over that, if you really know history.
So you're saying this is something worth fighting for, and
the rights that we have, the rights that we had and we knew as children, our children would never know. So I think it's worth fighting so they can know what a summer of 1985 and 87 was like when you didn't have to worry about kids getting killed by gun violence. Never crossed nobody's mind. Man, we could walk to the mall, go here, and we never had a pervert kidnapping nobody. All the perverts was in the family. Wasn't strangers. We looking for strangers, but it's your cousins, it's your uncles, them the people that's doing it. But we looking for strangers. So, man, our kids don't know what it's like to be free and have real freedom because they exist in a metaverse world that have community guidelines that don't allow them to have free speech. So what outlet do our children have that we have where they can have freedom of expression? They can't. Everybody's offended. So yeah, these children are in the box. Like, you know, I actually read the book and saw the movie, the movie V for Vendetta. Mm-hmm. That's where we're at in America right now. We just hadn't got to the end of the movie yet.
How do you think this thing ends?
Good wins, evil loses. Love conquer hates, and then another civilization will start over again. Because this group cannot go on another 100 years. Everybody's too hateful. Everybody's too hateful. It ain't just white people, black. Everybody hate everybody. Don't like no. So only thing ain't hating is the things in nature. So I think love's conquer all. There'll be a small group of Americans who really love Americans and love humans and can appreciate life after all the destruction and disasters they done seen done upon earth based on mankind, and they go live nature-free people like Tarzan.
Who's evil today? If you were to say evil, where's evil coming from?
The Bible says, and I'm just saying what's been quoted, evil exists in high places. High places and high principalities. Evil don't exist among poor people. But some of the most evil things appear to happen down off in poverty. Nah, that ain't evil. Those are conditions and circumstances that have been created not by your choice. Evil exists at the top. Evil gets to decide which military drop bombs. That's evil. The destruction and disaster that these men can cause, and they never touch a battlefield, that's evil. They're sending other people's children, that's evil. If they had to send theirs, they'll think about going to war. If they had to put on a uniform like General George Washington did, get on the goddamn horse and fight with these soldiers, Trump, all of them, they'll stop wars. Now, Putin is the only one that's capable and has the wherewithal to be a soldier. That's why I respect him and I love him. So when I heard Trump and all these other weak politicians talking to a real killer like this man done killed people. Y'all ain't never killed him. Y'all been killing Durham. And he killed callously, cold hard. Them the leaders we need.
Killers?
For the nation. You got killer military. Your generals are killers. You train children to kill. Why can our commander-in-chief of our military be a killer? We need killers running as commander-in-chief. Let the president be vice president, but let a commander-in-chief be a military motherfucker to run this country and lead this country.
This is how it was for a long time.
I know history, and that was great America. Great America.
Meaning, when I say how it was, commander-in-chief was somebody that was in the military. Commander-in-chief.
I thought that's what they meant.
Yeah. Interesting. So you're saying you would prefer a leader at the top.
The sniper over in Iraq. I would prefer him, a person like him that done went over there and fought for this country, killed for this country, lost buddies that died for this country, and come over here and tell us what's best for this country.
You'd rather have that sniper be the president than who we have today?
Yeah. Because he can't lead by himself. He has advisors. He has a cabinet. So he has, you need a soldier in the White House. You don't need a politician. Let your politician stay in Congress. But your president's supposed to be a soldier. You see what that African president is doing over there, that young brother? That's the kind of, he's a soldier. He's the commander-in-chief. Why do you got a Wall Street boy up there with a wig on? You need a lieutenant or a captain with a bald spot in his head, don't give a damn about a toupee. But he died for this country because he done served it, he done put years in it, he done trained and raised. This his country. This ain't country, man. Our military supposed to be our presidents and politicians and shit. Man, they go and fight, lose legs and limbs and come over here and suffer without a voice. For politicians to dictate to them and they done die, man, no. Should nobody be able to dictate to a soldier who done put his life down on the line? And everybody should handle them with care.
So you prefer Putin over who we have here?
Yeah.
Tell me what you like about Putin.
I like Putin because everybody ain't in Russia. I like Kim Jong because everybody ain't in North Korea. North Korea is about North Korea. Russia is about Russian. America is not about Americans.
America is about what?
Other people's interests. That's why we send money over there. That's why they can come over here and get loans that the average American citizen can't get credit loans. They can come over here and get rights that your blacks have never gotten. You got an Asian hate bill. How that happened? For your black people got them some kind of bill that protects them because they're the number one people who die of gun violence. I ever see some kind of protection around black people because they are dying at a rate almost like the pandemic.
What's the top cause of blacks dying?
Poverty, single parent homes, and the culture. So I wouldn't say the culture. We have a subculture that has superseded our culture. It's a subculture that have superseded the original culture of black people.
Tell me more.
Black people have always pursued education to get out. It was never about sports. So now you got a sports guy who can have an ability to get his education, but he'll leave soon just to go get the money and be broke 5 years after he leaves, statistically wise, without the education. Guess what? He ended up in prison. The single-parent motherhood is the number one tool in detriment against the black community. It's not the absent father. The absent father is not around. How can he have an impact? His absence does. But he's more impacted what he sees his mother does and what man she brings in and out the life. How she treats him. So most guys who've been mistreated by their mother grow up to mistreat women. They don't grow up, they fight men. That's the issue they got with dad. But it's a lot of guys got issues with dad and mother because they had a neglectful mother. So he extremely violent. And there's no Boy Scouts program. There's no early childhood training to teach emotional intelligence. Mama frustrated. So what typically does a single mother does? When everything is going good and going great, she don't spank the kids as much. Let a new man come into her life, she's a lot more loving and kind. Let things go bad, she's more frustrated, she's angry. You know, so now you get the emotional response. So now she whooping you because how she feel, not off teaching you discipline and correction. Now it's about how, so she's taking it out on the kids. So most guys were abused. Most guys, when we see these violent people, and I've worked on many cases, murder cases, at assisting criminal defense mitigation specialists. What I come to find out, most of these violent guys have been sexually abused. How gangster you think he is? Yeah, most of these, that's where the violence comes from. They're hiding behind extreme violence and aggression. But if he don't get the death penalty, they trying to kill him, he won't ever admit to it. So when you start learning mitigating factors about certain cases, you start to see a parallel and a correlation to sexual abuse, physical abuse, child neglect, and a mother. The mother created Jeffrey Dahmer. It wasn't the father. The mothers create these cold-hearted, callous, seem-to-be children that's coming out of the community. The mother creates that. She gives him the anger. Matter of fact, she gives him the fuel for the abandonment to turn into anger. Because he never heard nothing good about a black man. When he turned on television, a black man had been killed. He watched a Tyler Perry movie, fucked up black man. Everything, so he a little boy trying to reflect. So he get his weight up with his hate, and he pay everybody back when he's bigger.
Charleston, how did the single mother happen? Like, if you look back and say, well, it happened after this.
White feminism. White lesbian bitches. Sorry to call y'all bitches, but you get the picture. Yeah, they came and fucked up America's, they fucked up the ecosystem. They say there's plenty of fish in the sea. It ain't no more since feminism. Now you got women want to play quarterback against Tom Brady. Ain't never been the case. Man, I grew up watching Leave It to Beaver. His mama in the house. Now you got high divorce rates from extramarital affairs because you have men and women all in the workplace together. Who fuck more than co-workers? High school people and co-workers. You got a woman at home, every woman got a work boyfriend. She might not be sleeping with him, but they have an emotional attachment. They go out together. She say that's her friend, but they secretly like it. That's her work boyfriend because she never get to see his flaws. She see him dressed up every day, smell good, so this is her ideal man in her mind. She got an internet boyfriend, somebody she like his pictures all the time. A person she listen to. We watching ass and titties. She want to hear something to validate her. Most of us are too busy to validate her emotions. It's not a man's job to validate your emotion. Look in the mirror and validate them yourself so you can come out and be what I need you to be. So the single parent mother home came from feminism. I don't need no man. You got a deal though. Even when y'all get together, y'all can't have the best pleasure without that man's log.
That man's log is very powerful. That's it.
So our women separated from us. They got rights in women's suffrage, 1920. They demanded they demanded to be by themselves. Fought for it, yeah. Now they say they can't find a good man.
Yeah.
Feminism takes away good men.
Okay, so politically, you got Trump, you got Obama. What do you think about Obama? How much did Obama do for the black community?
Nothing.
You don't think he did a lot of good for the black community?
He didn't do nothing for
He didn't change your life positively? Like,
he changed.
But he's black.
He spent 8 years. He spent 8 years giving the homosexual community all of our civil rights. We still need a little bit more. So Dr. King and them fight wasn't for integration. It wasn't really to take the Jim Crow signs down. The initial fight, and it lasted for a while, the initial fight was equal rights and equal protection under the law. The Asians now have equal rights and equal protection because they have an Asian hate bill. You can't do nothing to Asian. The Jews, very well protected. Black Americans, not so. So when I look at Obama, he had an opportunity, but he wasn't raised with a black American. So he don't connect with us. He don't relate to us because he's not a black American. He come from an African man who had a baby with a white woman overseas and raised by his white racist granddaddy and his loving white grandmama. He grew up throughout school dating white women. Like, who you date, your mama? Michelle was a political move for him.
You think so?
He would never got elected had he had a white woman. That's why Kamala couldn't get elected. Ain't nobody vote for no black woman with no white man coming from our culture. Each with their own kind. If you want to lead us, each with their own kind. White America would never pick a white person. Why you think that boy got kicked out of England with that black woman? You gonna come bring this to our bloodline? No. Hell no, man. That's why mama and them said, you don't go over there and have no baby with them people. You stay over here. Red birds and bluebirds don't fly together, but they both birds. Each with their own kind. You can't be mad about that. So Obama could not relate to the black American struggle coming from the Nigger slave. He's not a seed of a slave. So why would he cry with us? He went and cried with his people, homosexuals.
Those are his people.
Them his people.
Man,
them his people.
Stop.
You saw what man, listen.
You think?
Yeah, he gave them the world. Yeah, them his people. How you recognize your kind? By their actions. Homosexuals got actions. That's how you know they're homosexuals. He with his kind.
You're saying Barack Obama's gay?
I'm speculating.
Based
on his mannerism. He wasn't tough enough in the White House. George Bush was tough. Andrew Jackson was tough. Every motherfucking body was tough. Except him. Get along, go along kind of. Man, we don't need no president to get along and go along. We damn near need a dictator. So, man, I'm Trump all day because America needed something that it had never had. They needed somebody that wasn't a politician. Couldn't get a soldier. Shit, we got a con man. This man done played all kind of roles. He done been in every role. He done been in every face of every ethnicity in every culture from the 60s to now. From being on Apprentice to dibbling and dabbling with all the hip-hops, Don King, Mike Tyson, Michael. So, man, this man is a black icon to us.
Oh, you're calling not a con man. What do you call a chameleon? Chameleon.
Let me just break this down. A con man is not a crook. A con man is a short term for a confidence man.
I got what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, they just turn into con. A confidence man.
But even though he's never been in a fight before, you're okay with that. He's still your president.
One time I got asked, could I level a house? Because I'm a confident man. Say, hell yeah, I can level that house. Took me all summer to do it. Could I do it? No, didn't know it was just damn hard. Underpriced myself. But I'm a confidence man, so I believe I can do anything. Man, if you mess with me, I believe I can whoop John Cena. Physically, probably not. But you can't tell this little mind. I can't. As impossible as it seems, I think I can. Man, that's what I tell myself. In any situation.
Who fed this to you as a kid? Were you ever in sales? Were you ever like...
No, the books, the little red caboose.
Which books?
The little red caboose about the train.
That's it?
All the stories that they tell you as a kid. So, man, I had toys, but I read books because it was a form of traveling as a kid.
This book?
Yeah, I think I can. I've been in a little red caboose. So they tell you things as kids. That trick you. Sticks and stone may break my bone, but words will never hurt me. I make myself believe that.
Affirmations.
Man, so you hear sayings and folklores and things that you hold on throughout life from wise people.
Yeah.
There's many stories that children can get out of these kind of books, but now they got gay stuff in books, so kids can't get this kind of inspiration and motivation when they feel like the little bitty red caboose.
Did you see the video that's they posted on World Star? Two gay couple girls are at Barnes & Noble and they see the books they have for kids. Have you seen this?
Yeah,
the Gay BC.
That's why I brought that up.
You ever read the Gay BC?
I've never. Yeah. So I was a kid when the book fair came to school. This was like birthday day for me. My mama go give me $10, $12, and some lunch money. I'm on bypass lunch. Wow. They go get all the men. So I was an avid book reader as a kid because in school back in my day. If you couldn't turn a backflip in recess, if you couldn't play sports be athletic inclined, you had to be smart. Or you ain't nothing in the popular crowd. So yeah, my intelligence have always been a tool for me to use to connect with other people.
Good for you. I mean, that mindset of yours, that's it's a unique mindset. And it's good to see that. Rob, if you can go to World Star's Instagram account, I just want to show this because I wonder what he thinks about it when you see this. If you go on the World Star, there's a couple literally at Barnes & Noble, and then while they're there, they see all the gay books for kids.
Right here.
Yeah, go ahead. Play this clip. I think Charleston's going to like it. Can't hear it.
Barnes & Noble's. And there's a kids book section, a gay kids book section, and this shit is crazy. Look at this. Okay, there's the gay BCs, right? Bye-bye binary.
For kids.
Bye-bye binary with a mohawk on a baby. Gay BCs, you're not ready. You hold this. Okay. What? A is for arrow and ace. B is for bi. This is crazy. We're gay, but this is crazy.
Indoctrination starts in the classroom.
Pause right there, buddy.
Indoctrination starts in the classroom. School is not at school. Your children are being indoctrinated. Education is in the home. Your children are not being educated. They're being programmed and propagated by this, thanks to Barack Obama and Joe Biden. One of the first things that Joe Biden did when he became president is he took a transgender male and put them over our human and health department. Fuck is wrong with him? Man, I don't bash nobody.
You don't think that's normal? Like, this person looks normal. You don't think Rachel Levine looks like a normal person?
That look like Sergeant Dick Van Dyke. That's Sergeant Dick Van Dyke. You can't make me believe that ain't... Hey, stop. You can't make me believe that ain't no real Sarge. Man, that's a weenie. You think... Man...
Some find that attractive.
Say, listen, that's why Ukraine need help. That's why Ukraine need help. They elected a actor fighting against a real warrior. That ain't no fuck, man, ain't no warrior. They been sucking on the Navy boat.
You think Rachel's been sucking on the Navy boat?
Man, you know, if she dressed like that, she up. You don't get like that without sucking, rubbing fur together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's man now. Listen, the worst thing we could have done to our military is don't ask, don't tell. Now, we asking, and you tell us. Because we don't need y'all out on that battlefield. We need y'all sexually frustrated. After blowing up shit, we don't need y'all nuts on flat. Fucking each other. So no, you don't get into this military. Get a gay military to work with the National Guard, passing out food and water bag. But them overseas motherfuckers should not be gay. The Russian military ain't gay. China military ain't gay. Man, we got some shit on our hands to fight. We don't need that. That should be a home ec teacher. Put home ec back in schools and let them teach home ec. As a man.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
As a man, though. Just call him Mr. Levine. Or say him.
He wants you to call him her.
Man.
That's what,
my mama told me, she said, the devil is the master of deception. The devil is the master of deception. What's more deceiving than that? A man look like a woman, acting like a woman, but is naturally a man, still a man in nature. What's more deceptive than that in the devil?
Like, you don't find this attractive? Because this was a big hit. I mean,
say we used to kick their ass in school, but they gay bashing now. You can't even gay bash in word. See, this is what's wrong with America. Bullying should be allowed. That's what made America tough. You taught this kid how to go outside and defeat his bully. Now he's running a CEO.
You don't think he's been bullied?
That's a he.
I mean, what is this, Rod?
Listen, it ain't no gay person who hadn't been sexually violated that had to turn gay.
Is this the guy from the movie Coneheads from back in the days, or is this... No, I'm being serious. Who is this?
No, this was an employee within Joe Biden's administration, the Office of Nuclear Energy. He was they were caught, remember stealing luggage at the airport? Do you remember that story?
Yes,
That's the person.
I thought this was Coneheads. Go to Coneheads?
Yeah.
Go to Coneheads. I don't know if you remember Charleston
Coneheads. That's a Christian. Yeah, I remember Coneheads.
I thought...
On Marky, yeah, from Marky Mark. Yeah, I remember.
Are you kidding me? You totally threw me off, Rob. If you put them right next to each other, I thought it's the Coneheads main character. Look at that.
So it is.
Maybe a little bit, not as much of a cone on the top. It's a little bit too flat. So this isn't, you think this is inappropriate?
Yeah, it has. I fought black women.
You did?
Well, for our gay community, I don't fault white people for their white community.
You fought?
I fought our black women for our gay community. I blame them. Because nobody accepts homosexuality in the black community. Homosexuality and gangsterism. Nobody accepts this more in the black community than black women. Because most of their sons are gays or gangsters. They're not in between. That's why we stand up for guys like George Floyd and not kids like Tamir Rice. We support our gangsters. Let one of our gangster niggas get killed by the police. Let a good person get killed. We act like we don't know nothing about it. Let a gay person happen. Black women is mad. Black women are the only faction of our community that treat the gay man like he's a girl. And she raised her son to be like the gay dude or the gangster dude she dates. So, they don't let the black man have access to his children. Soon as the baby's born, she gets named, this is my baby, this is my baby. In order for him to even have rights, he has to go through the government system to put child support on himself that ultimately restricts him and puts him in and out of jail bag mode. So when we look at the gay community, I remember America used to be as immoral you thought it was with slavery. I remember a time in the 80s where they wouldn't let advertisers play commercials on children's cartoon on Saturday. They don't target children. They're targeting children. Deliberately.
Why?
I tell people all the time, if you standing up talking to kids, you done lost them. They're kneeling down, whispering in kids' ear gay secrets. So if we're not kneeling down, looking at babies, 3rd grade, 2nd grade, eye to eye, and talking to them on their level, that's where they're beating us at, because they're sneaking this shit in cartoons that we can't see because we're not looking at their level. A giraffe and an ant don't have the same view. These are ants with these giraffes laying on their bellies, teaching them about homosexuality, which is, if this is a Christian country, an abomination to God. So how can your leader? How can your leader? So you think the Obama administration and Joe Biden for this, it was a long time coming on the Democrats' behalf. So what the Democrats said, our black people ain't good for us no more. These niggas won't even vote no more. They have the lowest voter turnout in all of our Democratic community. We need to do another Southern strategy again. Remember they said the party switched during the Nixon Southern strategy. The Democrats are a very clever slave master. Very clever slave master. So they did something like a Southern strategy. It was a gay strategy. Had they not done this, the country would be red. They went and recruited the gays. And then they went and got the black woman to stand with the gays. And they got the feminist white women that want to ride motorcycles with big titties to stand with the black woman, and they got an army. And not only that, they got a gay mafia that's violent and dangerous. And they let you know they'll do something to you and sexually violate you. And if you go against them, if you offend this group, if you slightly offend them, off with your head. They will counsel you. They're bullies. It's like only thing matters to them, they got a Pride Month. Who promotes a heterosexual month? So I'm saying, fuck them.
Flat out.
Fuck them. They can't make babies, no way. So how can we carry on with people who can't reproduce? And one of our reasons for being here is to reproduce and multiply the earth. They gonna stop civilization, take their rights, put their ass back in the closet. Make ordinances and law that say you ain't coming outside, boy, with your nuts taped up under your ass and tight shorts on. Lady, you ain't finna look like this. You got to let us know I'm a man, I'm a boy. Other than that, you deceiving me.
You need some real good quality tape, though. I mean, because some of these guys
got some long feet.
Yeah.
In they drawers. Yeah, they got feet in they drawers. They just rolled it up and taped them over somewhere.
Let me take that. That tape is, you just got the visual, and I went there, realized there's a business for it.
Yeah.
You need some real.
Yeah. So cuffing tape. Say, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Charleston White, a.k.a. America's favorite uncle. I just signed up to Manette. So if you want to message me, you want to cuss me out, you want to fuss at me, even if you want some counseling, call me. I minister healing by way of word. You can message me directly on Manette. I promise, man, I'm going to respond directly. I ignore them DMs on Instagram. They just took my Facebook. I don't respond on YouTube. I will respond on Manette. I promise. Just call me and see. Text me.
No, you give me the feeling that you watch a lot of WNBA. Is that true? Like, are you?
I hate the WNBA.
Really? I mean, you don't like WNBA?
Them lesbian chicks, man. Them most WNBA women ugly. They just start getting cute.
You don't think Angel Reese is like a cute?
Yeah, she's a cutie. But the 80% of the NBA league is tall, giraffe-looking women.
Like Brittany Griner's not your type.
Yeah, no, she's not. Most tall women that tall, they can play basketball. Their knees go together. They long feet. Y'all can't have the average man 5'9", 5'8". How you go lay with that big old woman like that? And she manly. And that's why they can't sell tickets. If they hired more sexy women in the WNBA, they would do NBA numbers. But don't nobody want to see a bunch of manly-looking women running up and down the court. Send them to the military league to play over there against Russia. But nah, man, that's not entertainment.
Well, I thought
it's the worst investment the NBA could have ever done.
Is she your type?
Yeah, she fuckable. It ain't about type, it's fuckable.
It's just not your type.
Yeah. You know, nigga, a guy will lower his standards to fuck. So when you ready to fuck, sometimes you just lower your standards.
I see what you're saying. Very strategic. Got it. I mean, she's a superstar right now.
Yeah, she is.
She in a kind of a...
But I like the one that quit the WNBA. I can't think of her name and went to OnlyFans and make way more than them. See, I think they should be NBA sex workers legally, like Vegas. I think the WNBA should be the sex workers like the strippers is for the rappers. The NBA guys are supposed to be able to go to the WNBA and sleep with all the women in the league.
This one right here? Is this the one that went to OnlyFans?
No, hell no. She too fat. Now this one, her was bad. Now she too chubby. Jaws too chubby.
Jaws too chubby?
Yeah, them fat girl cheeks.
Really?
Yeah, them fat girl cheeks.
How can you tell? Can you zoom in a little bit?
Shit, man, look how chubby them cheeks. Them the cheeks you do like, them cheeks you do like that. I can't think of that chick name. But she quit last year.
She's attractive.
Very attractive.
Who's this one? This one?
Is that her? Yeah, that's her. Liz Cambridge. Yeah, that's her right there. Is that the same chick?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's her. Yeah, Liz, yeah, that's her.
Well, maybe her cheeks are...
Yeah.
Well, in this picture, you see two cheeks.
You know what? That probably was that ball. That was them fillers them girls like to get.
I see.
Because she doing OnlyFans now. So she doing a lot more with her lips, so she probably had to get filled.
So you don't like big cheeks up there, but...
I'm more of an olive oil kind of guy.
Okay.
See, I grew up watching Popeye and Blue
Like that's
Rose.
your type right there? The Liz?
Oh, man, she too big. Man, it's like a big man. Yeah, that's too, yeah.
I'm surprised. I thought you were going to be like a big supporter, proponent of WNBA, like telling us to all watch it, but...
They supposed to be playing in what she got on right there. They should have uniforms.
Oh, you're saying for them to wear plain lingerie.
Yeah. In heels, run up and down them, click-clacking in them heels with them balls bouncing and them other balls jiggling and wiggling, going in for a layup. You know how many men are tuning into this?
Man, falls would be some epic falls. Coming down on those high heels.
Man, fires too, man. Man, what? So, but they not being creative. They think these women can dress like men, run up and down the court, dribble like men, shoot like men, and they're gonna attract the audience. Even women like hoes.
Even women like them.
Even women like hoes. That's why when they get drunk and at the club, they go to act like hoes. And they clean up real quick. Even women like to watch hoes. That's why we watch some of our favorite shows. Them hoes are entertaining. These lesbian women are not entertaining. Go get some hoes that can play basketball. They go both ways.
Ludacris did a song about that, no? Like different area codes?
Yeah.
It was very...
I just think it'd be much more entertaining knowing that these is freaky women and they with whatever playing basketball.
Have you ever been to a game?
Yes, once. And it was boring.
Really? Courtside or...
No. I took some kids. This organization I used to partner with named 601 Tickets used to donate tickets and stuff to my youth organization. So I used to take the kids out the projects to them WNBA games because it didn't cost much to feed them popcorn and stuff like that. They don't have high popcorn price like the NBA. That's how you know they ain't worth shit.
So their popcorn's cheap.
Yeah. So are their jerseys. They don't invest into a lot of them women.
Caitlin Clark's doing pretty good right now,
man,
though.
she's saving it. If it wasn't for Caitlin and Angel, wouldn't nobody be into this shit.
Yeah. You think Caitlin Clark. So you're a fan of Caitlin?
Yeah. Yeah.
She's fun to watch.
She's a wholesome white woman playing basketball.
Your type or no?
No, Larry Bird was my type. Good white boy that was tough. Kevin McHale. No, that ain't my type, right? A woman ain't got no business squeaking her tennis shoes up and down the basketball court.
Really?
No, she supposed to be over there cheerleading.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm old school America. Men were men and women was afraid of men.
Did you hear about the devastating news that Fox fired Joy Taylor?
Yeah, I saw that. She wasn't good for nothing. She was trying to be too cute. Man, we need real journalists.
You don't think she's a real journalist?
No, man. No, hell no. Man, she too pretty. She didn't get there because she was the best journalist in the company.
What are you saying?
She was fucking to get to the top.
Stop it.
As most good women do. Nancy Pelosi done it, everybody do it. Every woman with a smart brain on the job finds some kind of way to skip the line. Who want to work hard? We work smarter, not harder, ladies.
So you're saying that's wise.
Very wise.
So she's a wise girl.
Very wise.
But she got fired. So what does that say about her?
She'll get hired real easy if they know what she did to get the job.
Maybe she wasn't doing a lot of it lately.
She probably stopped. You know, they get beside themselves. Yeah, once you lift them up here with you, they stand shoulder to shoulder with you, they think they equal to you. I can do what a man do. No, you can't. You can't fire me. I'm firing you. So now they get tricked. They got an ego too. But she can get a job easy.
Did you hear about what she said about prostitution? I'm curious to know what you say about it.
No, I heard her. She was speaking on prostitution?
Yeah, she talked about prostitution. She said, if you want to play the clip, I think there's a clip of her talking about prostitution. Maybe this is where you guys would agree on something. Joy Taylor, if you want to, is this it?
Is that all right now?
Yeah, go ahead. Play this clip.
Yeah, man, she go easy get a job.
What?
Do you think that America is trying to be better?
Of course not. No. Not at all.
Yeah, I don't either. I think there's also a massive attack on femininity.
Oh, yeah.
Like the idea is that masculinity is actually what's being attacked, right? Like and that everything is watered down, everything is softened now. It's, everything is feminine. I actually think femininity is under control. I think that a big part of the reason why this is happening is because women got too close to power.
Okay, how so?
I mean, the audacity that a black woman would run for president. I mean, this was their last stand. They were like, hold on, listen, we let you in boardrooms.
Fast forward rap to see what she say about prostitution.
By the way, there wasn't a black woman that ran for president. That was an Indian woman.
I think non-pussy getting male lonelies are deteriorating society. Yes, I think it's a massive problem.
What do you think the fix is?
One, I think we should legalize prostitution.
Okay.
I have been standing on this for decades, and I think
she want a what?
She want a hoe. She just made us. That's a confession. She want to legalize prostitution. Why don't she be the candidate for it? Because I agree with her. You know why I agree with her? Because I know she done sold some pussy before. That's the only reason she would agree with this.
Stop it.
No woman in her right mind who ain't never sold her body would co-sign a woman being a prostitute. Only hoes and bitches do. A real woman and a real lady will never say, I think prostitution should be legal. She would say, hey, I think we should provide services for these women and find other ways for them other than But a hoe, go support a hoe. Why they get on the phone and tell each other business when they fucking the same guy? That's why two hoes and two bitches can get on the phone, hate one another because they fucking the same guy, and share intimate information that hurts each other. For him, they relate to each other. Two red birds. A bluebird wouldn't have said that.
So she's a red bird.
She's a red bird. Now, I'm more for a hoe. Prostitute, I'm more for a hoe. Because a hoe is using her body and her self-wits to advance herself in life. She might end up becoming a millionaire housewife like Anna Nicole Smith.
Oh, she became a billionaire.
She was hoeing. She wasn't prostituting.
But it was love. She loved the 88-year-old guy.
No. You
don't think she loved the 88-year-old?
Oh, she loved him, but he loved her. All men love good hoes. Even Jesus loved one. Kept Mary Magdalene with him and his 12 disciples. No other woman got to walk with the Savior other than this whore. So hoes are more like angels. Prostitutes are sex workers carrying demonic spirits. Hoes got God's spirit in them, and they usher the men, they cater the men, and they don't cause men problems. Women, ladies, and bitches are more of a opposition to a man than a whore is. She know her role.
Got confused what you said about Jesus.
He kept a whore, Mary Magdalene. So when you read Jesus' story, other than the prostitute he met at the well, he don't really fuck with women. His hoes, but he kept one particular woman with him and his 12 disciples to witness all these miracles. And she was a whore.
She was a what?
A whore.
Charles.
A hoe. That better hoe. That's what the Bible describes it as.
Okay.
Man, prostitution been around since this time.
So you're saying Joy wants to bring it back? From Fox? Or you think
I think what a woman do with her body, she should pay taxes for it, but you can't regulate it. If she's selling what she's selling and she make money, make her file for 1099 for that pussy, file taxes on it.
Right.
But other than saying we need laws to put in place to make this legal.
Could be one way to pay off the national debt.
Yeah, it paid it off 1 year. Yeah, pay that. Man, don't nothing sell like that, but yeah, sugar and cotton don't even sell like that.
He'd pay it off.
In 1 year.
In 1 year.
But no, she's a very nice looking lady.
She is?
Yeah.
So she's your type. So if she
very much so.
If she would slide in your DMs, you would respond.
I'll fly in tomorrow. Yeah, I'll fly in tomorrow. I mean, and she like to talk too. Yeah, we'll talk all night.
She's not gonna know. She's not no job now. So maybe don't be surprised if it happens all of a sudden.
Call me, Joy. Oh, I got the right kind of instructions for you.
All right.
Your proper instructions motivate people.
She's got time.
That's why Bill Belichick was a bad man. Proper instruction motivate people.
But first ladies, like do you watch the first? You think like?
I like the Kennedy lady. Yeah, I like Miss Jackie. Yeah, I like Miss Jackie.
She smoked a lot of cigarettes though.
Oh, that's all right. That was sexy back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sexy for the smoked cigarette.
So she's your first lady.
Yeah, she my first lady. Her and I love Nancy too. I love Nancy Reagan.
Really?
I love Nancy Reagan because she brought the DARE program to school. Drug abuse resistance education. This is your brain. And this is your brain on drugs. So yeah, man, she was very
classy.
Very classy. So those two ladies, class. Michelle Obama had some grace and class about herself as well. But she would make it known that she don't like people by facial expression. A woman don't give off no signal or nothing. She's always modest and composed. Another first lady, Thomas Jefferson, and man, I can't.
Thomas Jefferson. His wife.
His wife and his other. They started out as friends, ended up becoming enemies, and then became friends again by way of the wives writing to each other. So he was two buddies who were guys and friends. Oh, yeah. So they fell out. So it was Thomas Jefferson, another one. So just through history, from Jefferson's wife and his friend's wife, and then when I saw the Kennedys, Mama Kennedy, over Dad and them.
Right.
Then when I saw Barbara Bush, them strong women. Them strong women are the ones who whisper in those men's ears when they get weak. They have
in a positive way.
In a positive way. You can't be a thorn in your husband's side and he the president.
No, she's tough.
Yeah. So I watched the movies. I read the books.
We have a guy here that's his fantasy girl, Humberto. He is crazy about Barbara Bush. Like he's got posters by his computer. You go by his computer like the screensaver.
He must used to lay on the floor and look up under his grandmama's dress, watch TV. Kind of yeah, I kind of figure out.
On the dining room, like the dining table, he gives me that vibes too. Like,
yeah, so I understand the role that the first lady, or how powerful she can be in shaping a nation,
totally,
and really bringing peace.
Yeah.
So if Trump had the right kind of woman,
you don't think he does?
No.
Stop.
They don't even like each other.
Come on, man.
Man, you can't fly no another woman in from another country and treat her as your equal like you would treat a woman over here. You brought over her to mistreat her. No man from America goes overseas to get a woman and bring over her and treat her lovely.
They met here.
No, but she still was a foreign. They met somewhere else.
He didn't go get like a,
Man, he didn't, man, listen, it's like a mail order bride.
Stop it.
He done had too many wives. He done been married so many times. At this point, this is a mail order bride. That's why now today, when they walk together, he leave the little bitch back there. You know how a nigga treated a woman after he got tired of. He don't hold his hand no more. He keep the umbrella. She got to hold her own umbrella. So she don't even stand with him no more. So it's obvious
Charleston,
they ain't.
He always holds the umbrella for her.
I seen one he did. She must didn't give him none that night because you don't always treat your woman right.
Maybe they got into a fight.
Yeah, it's okay.
Conversations.
But you can tell.
But you do think she's beautiful because Melania's.
Oh yes. So listen. So there's pictures of Melania and Trump and P. Diddy back in the mid-90s. And P. Diddy and Trump and Ivanka Trump got to look at each other.
Melania, you mean?
Yeah, Melania. Yeah. I'm sorry, Ivanka. Say, GoPro the boy, you can't tell me they wasn't fucking later.
Stop.
You can't tell me the tenacity that Diddy had sexually and his history, all these people went to this party. Why you think they together?
Charleston.
So it's some more pictures. Watch how they look at each other.
They're at many pictures. They're always at parties.
No, that's a Diddy party.
That's not a Diddy party.
So listen, man, there are so many pictures with Trump and Diddy. Why you think Trump said if they're mistreating him, I look into it. Because they buddies. They party buddies. Trump been hanging with niggas forever. Man, you can't tell me Diddy ain't. Man, but freaky as Diddy is, you think he ain't slide that pole up against that girl? Hey, how you doing, Mr. Trump? and let her feel it, and then now they making eye contact with each other. And Trump a freak too. You can't be a billionaire and not be a freak sexually.
Austin.
Man, I know reality. I know men. These men party together or fuck together. That's why they partying together. That's why we party with the people we party with. It's somebody now we want to fuck. If we being real.
What do you think about Diddy?
He's innocent. Can't tell a man he can't whoop his woman and she don't call the police. If my neighbor see me kicking my wife ass, they ain't got no business butting it. Baby, you all right? If she say, I'm all right, leave us alone. Now, if she holler, help, y'all join in. But Cassie never holler for help. You can't, man, you can't tell me I got $1 billion.
She's trying to run away.
No, she's
going to the elevator.
She was stealing a high dollar bag during the sexual freak out we all agreed upon. She done got mad behind closed doors.
I don't know what video you've seen. Rob, pull up the video.
Man, I seen that video.
She's running.
She's stealing his bag. She didn't buy that bag. That's a theft. Bitch, give me my bag. Where you going? Where's Big Girl?
You're thinking.
Give me my shit. Give me my shit. You get on back in here.
You think this is okay?
Yeah.
Charleston.
Man, that's his woman. How can you tell that man he can't do that? Hey, man, that ain't my daughter. Why I can't say, man, ain't. So because
you have a daughter?
Yes. So listen, I also got some friends who they women is okay with that being happening because they're in this toxic relationship. This is not a normal relationship that America is thinking about. This is a drug-infused, both of them using drugs at a high level of extent. In the ghetto, this is normal. But they doing this as rich people, this is not normal. Rich people do it on the inside. Rich people beat their wives on the inside. He just so happened to catch her, and he didn't beat her. He said, give me back my shit, kicked her, and drug her back in there, and they finished fucking. Ain't nothing like fighting and fucking to make up. Best orgasms in the world. They make songs about it. We break up to make up. That's all that is. You don't see her coming back out that room. She said it's another woman in there they were having sex. She went back in and started back having sex again. She didn't come out that room. The male prostitute said she called the book. She paid. She been having fun like a motherfucker. So she was compensated for what y'all sold.
What was the guy's name? Punisher or something like that?
The Punisher.
So
I wonder why they call that nickname. It's
he got a sledgehammer. So she was compensated for what we saw.
Yeah.
She was compensated for what we saw. So they put together this
$30 million or something.
Yeah, plus another 20 coming from the hotel.
Oh, another 20 coming from the hotel.
That came out in trial. So imagine this. Everybody been knowing about this. Why was they silent for so long? Because this has always been rumored. This is 10 years old tape. They've been knowing about this.
Yeah.
The feds was on a goose hunt. And they blew a case. So they went and put together this big mafia-type conspiracy RICO trial for a guy and his wife being freaky, his girlfriend being freaky. And they in agreement with this. Was he wrong for flying in male prostitutes? No. What's wrong with flying somebody in to have sex? I thought that's what rich people do to have sex. How they get there to you? How you fly your girlfriend, your other woman on the side that you don't want your wife knowing about? How they supposed to get to you? And you ain't supposed to give them no money when y'all get through fucking? I'm taking care of my little money. This my little bitch I be fucking. I play take care of her, even though she do this. So how can our government say this is a sex worker? Shit, they people ain't never identified as sex workers. They freaking having sex. So now our government get to rule in the bedroom. It's a clear case of government ruling in the bedroom. What I did outside that hotel, the jury said, not guilty.
You think he recorded all those guys? You think he's got the tape on all those people?
The FBI got the tapes when they seized the house.
Oh, no shit.
They seized all of his computers.
Yeah.
And they made it seem like he had a Costco house full of baby oil. He only had a couple bottles. Our government paint a blurred picture about this man. Is he a horrible guy? Yeah. Should he be in prison? No. Should he be held without no bond? No. Every one of us know a guy who slaps his woman, and we don't say shit to him about slapping his woman.
What do you think about Epstein?
He alive somewhere hiding. Prior to his death, there was already attempts made upon his life in jail. How is it a coincidence that he ended up in jail with a suicide, but the autopsy report said his larynx was crushed? You can't do that with suicide. Motherfucker got to choke you to do that. Why don't the media do Epstein like they do Diddy? We know everything. We know Diddy like to put cum on his nipples for men. Him and Cassie like to suck the cum off. So this is detail. Why we don't know details about Epstein? Where are the children? Where are their stories? Where are their testimonies? Why don't we have open access to Giselle's testimony and her cooperation with the government?
You mean Ghislaine? Yeah.
Ghislaine.
Yeah, yeah.
You know why? Because most of the people went to the island was politicians and powerful people, princesses of Wales, all them types, the real freaks, the evil people. The evil people who can go to an island and have access to children that nobody knows have been kidnapped in the world. The evil people. Those are our politicians. Those aren't poor people. Those are not people on drugs. Those are not gangbangers that's doing this. Gangbangers hurt their own people. But it's a group of people that take our children and they disappear, and powerful people have access to them. There's a movie that I question to this day. It's called Sounds of Freedom, Cry of Freedom, about
Sounds of Freedom. Yeah.
Human. I cried watching that movie. I kept walking. I said, "Oh man." I said, "Why don't nobody promote this movie from Hollywood? Why don't our government promote this movie? Why do our government spend so much billions in Ukraine? And why don't we got some real laws for sexual exploitation and sexual abuse? Because they in on it too." So at the end of that movie, it says that child sex trafficking has surpassed drugs and guns in the world. You don't need to reply. You don't need to re-up with a kid. You catch him at 5, it's a sex slave till it die, unless somebody free it. So you asked me a question earlier. How does a kid survive that? With no hope, agony? It's the resiliency of a child that adults lose throughout life. So, so I think our government, all that, everybody full of shit. I wear a hat that says I think everybody's playing. We really ignore the conditions of our children in America. We have some of the most drug-addicted children ever in the history of human existence today. More of our children go to bed hungry or live in abuse, neglect, and is exposed to more violence than any other group of children outside of these third world countries. But there's not a lot of resources, there's not a lot of things put into development. More things are being taken from the kids and given to the gays and the politicians in the interest groups. America's citizens is being robbed by politicians who put capitalism before citizenship.
Capitalism over citizenship.
Yeah. So that's why you hear the media. Terms and words are powerful. It's what Hitler used to exterminate a whole group of people. The Consumer Reporting Credit Act stripped us of our citizenship, because if you go pull my credit, you can go get access to me so you have stripped me of my citizenship. And the media now identifies Americans as the American consumer, not the American citizens. The American consumer. Everything's about a consumer report. Capitalism. They talk socialism, but they really want capitalism. Capitalism supersedes racism.
Capitalism supersedes racism?
Yeah.
Tell me why.
If you get enough money, they don't look at you like you a color. If you come in, man.
Isn't that a good thing?
Isn't that a good thing?
Isn't that a good thing?
Yeah. But what about the people who can't access to capitalism?
A lot of people don't start off with the capital.
Most Americans won't get it and won't start off with it, according to what we're looking at today's Americans.
87% of millionaires are self-made. Most of billionaires, a lot of them inherited the money. Sure, you can put a number to it, but millionaires, 87% are self-made.
They had a different school system that taught critical thinking, where they dropped out. This is not the same America that can repeat that again. With this group of kids who can barely read on or above their grade level, who don't have a worldview, who don't know economics because economics is not in school. They don't know banking because they haven't been given a piggy bank to put a quarter here. They don't get an allowance to learn how to save. They don't get out.
But access to information is more available. A person today, if they really wanted to go find out and learn for themselves with just YouTube alone, you can get access to doing almost anything. Selling, coding, ChatGPT can learn how to code. You have so many methods of learning today.
Not when you're indoctrinated, you don't. Our children have been indoctrinated.
That part, but you need to go to school to be brainwashed.
Well, YouTube can only teach you the basics. It's only teach you the basics. The people that go watch YouTube can barely read. The people that can go watch YouTube are trying to fix something, they might not eat later.
Really?
So they don't have most Americans are poor. They don't have the luxury to learn from YouTube. They're escaping reality.
I think sometimes if you give them an out, they'll run with it. Remember earlier on when you said when you were a kid?
Hold on, look, here's the out. Before you can even understand life as a kid, they putting a fucking phone in your hand.
Okay.
To entertain you because you're getting on the adult's nerve.
I agree with that.
So now you're going to a school system.
That's on the parents though.
But the condition don't allow the parents to teach, right? So this is what I was taught. It takes a village to raise a child, not a parent. It takes a village.
Do you believe that?
Yes, I believe that wholeheartedly. I was raised by the village because my mother was at work. So I had a juvenile worker, I had a court worker, I had a school teacher. My mom was at work. I had a neighbor say, boy, I'm going to tell your mama. I had a village. Miss London and boy I had a village. And I said, yes, ma'am. When somebody come, pull your pants up, I pull them up. I say, fuck you, bitch. I pull them up. Because I understood the village. So you want this group of children who Mark Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs don't even give their kids these phones.
Yeah.
For our kids to take this phone, and you can make so much money off this phone, but you ain't gonna learn it watching YouTube. I spent 5 years getting millions of views on Facebook, and nobody around me knew how to monetize. Nobody. That blew my mind. That blew my mind that nobody, all these people with phones waking up, getting on social media sites, don't know how to monetize their social media platform.
How do you make money right now?
I got a comedy tour. So I've been on tour for a year. Each interview you have ever seen me done within the last 4 years, I get paid $10,000 per interview.
We haven't paid you.
No, y'all don't.
Yeah. You say other podcasts you go on.
So I wouldn't go on a big platform as big as this unless it's a mutual benefit. Right. So I understand some things is not about money. But it's certain platform because what I have to go entertain in the conversation.
Totally get it.
So, man,
but I tell you also know how to get eyeballs. I mean, you go on a show, you're gonna get eyeballs.
Yeah, and so the most I've been paid is $40,000 for an interview.
Got it.
So I have a website that sells merchandise. So between I probably do $40,000-$50,000 a month in just interviews.
No shit.
In just interviews,
Got
and
it.
then I stream with Aiden Ross. So that's another stream of revenue that comes through.
It.
So.
By the way, what happened with you and Michael Jordan? Is it true, like the story?
No, that's some bullshit.
The story that he broke up a fight or something?
No, they say he broke up a fight between me and Wack 100. No, I ain't never met Mike.
So that's just a story that's out there that they tell. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw that story. I'm like, what is that story all about? You know, with
So let me just explain how I got into comedy, because I didn't want to get stuck online with the persona like the rapper does in character.
Yeah.
Because the persona became so polarizing. Because we're so cultural influenced by entertainment, sometimes we think Denzel Washington is Denzel off Training Day. So I started realizing people was overlooking what I do in real life because they were so into this character. So when they meet me in person, they're not into Charleston. They want the internet persona. So I had to figure out a way to take that persona and that internet character and evolve into something that's less offensive, less provoking toward black people. Instead of making them cry, make them laugh. Because I was coming with some brutal truth, making motherfuckers cry. and it was offending people.
Yeah.
So Paul Mooney said the greatest joke ever told was told as a truth. The greatest truth ever told was told as a joke. So I learned to make it funny so we can all laugh.
I like that.
Yeah. With a message.
Who said that? Paul who?
Paul Mooney.
Respect.
Yeah, Paul Mooney said the greatest joke ever told was told as the greatest truth ever told was told as a joke. The greatest joke ever told was told as a truth. That's why comedians have always had a pass. Because they come to speak our reality and truth in such a way, maybe offensive. So that's why I wanted to bring satire comedy back. Andrew Dice Clay. Man, Glenn Beck, or Howard Stern, or Mal Mabel, Peter. Man, all these are satire comedy guys who do shock jock.
Glenn Beck?
Glenn Beck is, he's satire all day. And he's shock jock.
Stop.
Man, shock jock. Yeah. What, man? So during the Hillary and Obama, man, I was tuning in to Glenn Beck. Man, he's a shock jock. Yeah, and he's good at it.
You like him?
I love him.
Who do you listen to? Who do you watch?
I watch a lot of Fox News. I watch a lot of Trump.
Have you met him?
Mm-mm. I was supposed to do the interview with him and Aiden Ross, but I had some bogus charges on me at the time, so I couldn't pass a Secret Service clearance. But I ultimately ended up getting the charges dropped. Yeah. So I was attacked by a gang member in a barbershop. He hit me in the head with a gun, and
hit you in the head with a gun.
Yeah, while I was asleep. So I wake up to it being hit in the head with a gun. So, and he a well-known killer gang member. And so I went to the car to retrieve my gun. And this is off camera, but I come back through the building trying to secure the building, not knowing where they at. And so my local police department charged me with 2 aggravated assault for going to get my gun after being attacked.
Get out of here.
Yeah, so it took me, man, I spent a lot of money, it took me. So they just dropped all the charges.
This is in Fort Worth?
This is in Fort Worth.
So you've never met the president. Okay, so who would you want to meet? Who are the guys that you want to meet? If there's people you'd want to meet, who would it be?
The leader of the National Rifles Association.
The leader of NRA.
Yeah, and I want to meet the leader, the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Yeah, sit down and talk to him.
What would you ask him?
We'll become human friends. We'll become friends. Because I can connect with anybody on a human level, white, black. We don't have to be the same color. We got the same experiences as boys, men, being Americans. And I know American history. And white people don't have to like you. But if you know history, you can conversate with them, they'll tolerate you. If nothing else, just to debate you. And they'll ultimately become fond of you. So talking and conversating, I want to meet people that black people think is against us to come back and say if they're really against us. That's how I became a Republican in Texas. After the George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin's verdict, I didn't want to join the hateful Black Lives Matter group. I got a loving mother who says, son, God has no respect of person. So my mother, I don't know hate. I come from a loving home. I don't know hate. I had to come play like I'm hateful to fit in a group of people that's hateful. So I didn't want to join a Black Lives Matter group with anger.
You never did?
I never did. I hated it. And plus, I ain't following 3 lesbian bitches nowhere. Not no stud bitches. I might follow a bisexual woman. Yeah, but I ain't following 3 studs.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I ain't following. Yeah, so I wanted to prove to black people because here I am. I got a youth organization that has been highly recommended to all 254 counties throughout the state of Texas. This is white people that's doing this. I'm part of a national organization called Incarcerated Children's Advocacy Network. These are white people bringing me to Washington, D.C. to help me change laws and legislation.
Wow.
So I'm saying, man, let me see. So I dressed up one day and went to this Republican executive committee. And I was the only young black there, mouth full of gold teeth. And I kept trying to speak on the microphone, and I ran into Greg Abbott's one of his aides. He said, "What do you want to say?" I said, "Man, I remember this party used to embrace niggas." He was a young white boy, so we could talk this language. He a hip hop white boy. Used to embrace niggas. I want to get him back to embracing niggas, but I noticed the police were starting to profile me and come over here to try to see what's going on. He gave me his card. So the next morning, I called down to the Tarrant County GOP Republican Party and spoke to Jen Hall and Shelley Pritchard. I said, "Ma'am, I'm a conservative nigga who just so happens to vote Republican. I'm trying to see are they offended by what I'm saying rather than listen to what I'm saying. I'm delivering it very articulate with manners." I said, "I went to a meeting last night and I was shunned as a black man, mouth full of gold teeth, and I can bring votes in from over here." So they invited me to come down and they adopted me. They took in my youth organization. So I couldn't, here I am, I'm working in the black community, fighting against black people, but I got all these white people that they say racist Republicans. They're sewing into me from the Terrence Star Republican Women's Club. I'm building a relationship with judges where when black people get in trouble, I say, "Yana, he works for me over there." "Oh, he does, Charleston? Show us some proof." So I'm building relationships because why would I be a Democrat and there's hardly any Democratic judges? And all my people need judges with a mouthpiece. So I found out that white people aren't really racist. They prejudiced. We all prejudiced. We're all ethnocentric ideology that think it's better than others. We just don't understand each other. So I started bringing niggas around, these white Republican people with dreads and tattoos who had murder cases, and they see redemption in these people because they hear the stories. So now we're all partnering together to work with children. We're doing reading programs. So I let the divisiveness of America's culture and temperament at the time, George Floyd killing. So, yeah, man, I didn't want to be connected to hate because I was starting to hate. But I wasn't hating white people. I was hating black people. I was watching black people shoot up a 93-year-old woman's house by mistake. And nobody said nothing. I was watching kids get killed, and you have a fundraiser to try to bury the kid, but the gang he died for ain't helping bury him. The black church that he's trying to be buried in is extorting the mother for more money. So, I ain't like that. So I was getting burnt out because I was a struggling father trying to help the community. I became the change I wanted to see. I'm a pre-law student at Texas Western University, just started a youth organization. Car broke down, I'm riding the bus to school. People ride by, see me, so I'm embarrassed by being on the bus stop. Can't take my kids nowhere, but I got a heart to help the community. So at some point, you become frustrated and angry, as most community leaders do. The lack of support. I figured out a way how to self-sustain my organization. I didn't have to apply for no grants. I knew how to sell barbecue, shake down the drug dealers, stop the prostitutes, say y'all can't sell no. So I would shake down the community. I'm gonna call the police on y'all. Why I need to add white people? And I'm helping us. So black people became my greatest enemy, helping their children. But I'm the ones getting their kids out the juvenile system. I'm the ones setting up the, getting people license back reinstated. I turned away from everybody. I was having a mental breakdown. Every day, all day. Man, you talking about for almost 7, 8 years. And I'm speaking in legislation. I'm doing trainings for U.S. Department of Homeland Security. And I'm trying to maintain my GPA. Yeah, I had a mental breakdown. And this what caused the breakdown. Because I was used as a political pawn from the power structure. They needed a voice like mine that was dynamic, that challenged the black preachers. And I challenged them and I shamed them. So white people grabbed me and made me a poster child. They used me as a voice piece to go out into the black community to bridge the gap between law enforcement and the black community. So at the time, the federal government had just issued out a national initiative to 6 cities that probably could be the next Baltimore riots. So Fort Worth was one of those cities. It was called 21st century community policing. So they kind of wanted to bring back beat cops, where the cops know the neighborhood, put more.
This is in Dallas.
This is in Fort Worth. So they had this program that the police department developed by way of this national initiative that was called procedural justice. Procedural justice was a new training aspect that was brought to new law enforcement to kind of have them more race sensitive, right? And they needed a black voice to go out. So I was one of the main voices that they used.
By the way, TD Jakes is in Dallas, right? Have you ever done anything with him? What do you think about TD Jakes?
He for TD Jakes for his church. He not for the community.
He's for his church, not meaning members of his church.
He mean the Potter's house.
Right.
Meaning a member. He for his church. That's his business. He not for Dallas. We don't see him nowhere doing nothing. His church or nothing. Now they got a prison reentry, but that's for the grant funding for his business.
Do you think he's a net positive to Dallas?
No.
To the black community?
No.
TD Jakes?
No.
Really?
What do we do other than preach a good message? To make our mothers feel good. Only to come back home and still drink wine and feel better. Playing a pussy with a rose to feel emo better. So all he is a feel-good preacher. No, man. The Bible says what you do for the least of those. I don't see no preacher, no church really doing for the least of those other than the poor churches that's amongst the least of those. You cannot take your big, beautiful church, build it out on the hill away from the people and think you can still reach the people. They can't walk to that church. And matter of fact, this church is so extravagant, it's ATM machines all over this motherfucker. And when it's time to pay tithes, poor people are excluded out of the black church.
What do you mean?
They're excluded. The preacher make you feel like if you ain't got a soda seed, who got a soda seed? They make you feel like if you ain't got no money to give. God don't need my money. He need my confessions. So, the black church full of shit that go for TD Jakes, all of them.
What do you think about Creflo?
Full of shit. Obsolete to the black people.
Right.
They have an audience like I got an audience. If I lose a page, my audience come follow me like they're following. They're not for the community. I started from the community and develop a following.
You don't think TD Jakes is a net positive to community? No. Still,
he preached other. Why is a preacher positive? How is a preacher?
Well, go back to what you said earlier when you said hip hop or the movies would come to the bad communities and they would convert. So what if somebody doesn't live in Dallas and they live in Kansas, they live in New York, they live in Arkansas, they live in London, and they watch him, they just like the way he delivers his message. Isn't that a net positive?
No.
Tell me why.
What does it do? It make you feel good for the moment. So church make you feel good for whenever, hey, hallelujah, pastor. You go back to the same problems, same conditions, and most people's lives don't transform.
You don't think people make decisions when they give their life?
No,
when they get baptized?
I think when people give their life to God, they going through something, they dealing with something. Soon as shit get back right, they sneaking and having unmarital sex. They still getting drunk. They still masturbating. They still watching porn. I think everybody is full of shit when it comes to God because you're gonna do something against God every day. Stop trying to be perfect.
You believe in God?
Yeah, I do. But I ain't trying to live for God. God gave me a choice of free will. I don't want to be a godly man.
You don't want to be.
I want to fuck a bunch of women.
So you made that decision.
Yeah. I get God on the deathbed. But right now, I'm living for me. Fuck God. I believe in him. I get the same blessings if I believe, if I don't. The sun shines on the bad just like the rain fall on the good. Good things happen to bad people like bad things happen to good people. God ain't got nothing to do with that.
You think this is the right example on the way to live your life because you're saying you want to do net positive?
Man, listen, you live your life.
No, I'm not saying, no. Those are two different things.
No, let me say, yes, I think it's the right message.
Tell me why.
Because can't nobody dictate to you about your life. God gave it to you.
No, that's not what I'm saying, though. That's not what I'm saying. You're right. You can do whatever you want to do.
I don't think God is real. I think God is questionable.
Well, then that's a different conversation. You just told me you said God is real, then you changed it.
I said I believe in God.
Right.
Based off what my mother said.
But you don't believe God is real.
I've read Revelations.
Yeah.
And I read Genesis. Now I don't believe God is real. Because I just told you about children being sex trafficked. Where's God for them?
By who, though? By who?
By whoever. I don't know.
By the people.
By what people?
By the people.
The government? Whoever. So if God is real, why he don't stop those people? If God is real.
He gave free will to God like you.
So that's why I don't think God is real. Because if God is real, why hadn't white people suffered for what they did to slavery? If God is really real.
So then for you, you're conflicted.
No, I'm not conflicted. I don't believe people know God to tell me God is really real.
No, originally you said you believe.
I believe in God. That don't mean I think he's real. I believe in the boogeyman. I don't think it's real. I believe in ghosts, the spirit. I don't know they're real.
Do you have faith?
No, I got faith in me.
You got faith in you.
Because everything I heard about faith, I think is bullshit.
So let me tell you, who is the biggest man in your life that let you down?
None.
No man's ever let you down.
I've never been connected to a man.
Father.
Never been connected to him to be let down.
Did you ever meet him?
Never.
So that's the biggest letdown.
That's not a letdown.
But you never met him.
I had uncles and granddaddies to replace that letdown. You don't even know it's there.
But there's different than father.
No, listen. Out of sight is really out of mind. There are many kids who father's gone and another replacement have stepped in and filled the void of the father.
There's a difference.
No. Man, listen, if you've never seen your daddy, you don't have an attachment to it. That's bullshit.
Yeah, but that's a different story.
That's a childhood abandonment. That's a childhood abandonment issue that you hold in secretly. Yeah. That don't affect you as a disappointment. You never expected nothing to be disappointed.
So I'm listening to you. And it's not your fault. I'm not sitting here saying anything that...
Man, I don't give a damn what you saying. I'm telling you, I ain't never been connected to a man to be...
I understand.
Listen, I had a granddaddy. I had an uncle who kept me with him. Yeah. I don't know that's not my daddy. The presence of a man is the father, not the title.
Yeah, but when a man grows up eventually...
I don't
you
get it.
You said something earlier.
Listen, when I grow up, I have no connection to a man. So no man... I ain't been hurt by a man. I had no connection to a man to be hurt. No expectation, no nothing.
Do you know what you said at the beginning of the podcast?
What?
You said something very powerful. You said, when you were a kid, you and your older brother, he was a big guy, and he was in and out of juvie, and then your mother ended up having a daughter. I think you said later in life, yeah. She ended up having a daughter, and then mom worked for GM, and she worked after you guys got home, so she would prepare your meal. She would tell you to do the homework, and she's going to call at these times. You guys better be home, or else. And she came home. And if you guys didn't do what she told you to do, she'd wake your ass up and talk to you.
Now, where the man is?
But exactly, that's what I'm saying. But because there wasn't a man, she couldn't check you to raise boys. I was raised by a single mother.
You don't know what the fuck you talking about. I'm telling you, I got uncles and granddaddy. You think my granddaddy and them ain't around? Checking my brother and them? We had men.
I'm repeating your words.
No. But I never told you it wasn't no man. You're assuming. I got a bunch of uncles and granddaddy.
I understand.
So if you know so I had the presence of a male.
Right.
I ain't the black kid that grew up poor, but I had plenty of men. Well-to-do kid. I had my own room in the third grade.
You know what I love about you, Charleston? Let me tell you what I love about you, and I have so much respect for you, is, when I was a kid, and I was, we didn't have a lot of money. We're like a, what do you call it, Section 8 and welfare kid.
See, I don't know what it's like to be poor.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like to be poor.
I'm telling you from my perspective.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, when I was raised that way in L.A., Glendale, and we would have people that would come over, and they would say things like, hey, let us get you this for Christmas. Let us get you this. And pour this, pour that. I hated it. I couldn't stand people looking down at us as if we don't have anything, as if we don't have any money. I hated it. I couldn't stand it. So I went to the Army. And then eventually, I ended up making my own money. I didn't want to be in debt to anybody. I didn't want any favors. I didn't want any of that stuff. Your level of the mentally, how powerful words have been in your life.
Let me just say this.
You sang a hip-hop song at the beginning.
Listen, I come from love. Love conquers all. So I got a loving mother.
Yeah.
We live in a wonderful, affluent background. When I get hurt, I'm centered around love. I'm growing up in a hospital with loving nurses. I don't know my daddy not here. I got nothing but love. I got my uncle. I'm his favorite nephew. My name is Charleston. My nickname is Blue. My uncle was a pimp. I was born in 1977. There's a movie called Come Back Charleston Blue, 1976. My uncle named me. That's my daddy. So I always tried to be a pimp. Pimp on hold. Prostitute hoe. My daddy absent don't.
You validate my point.
So this is what I'm saying. So I had men. I had men. So I don't have no abandonment. I was a kid who grew up in a hospital setting, like a dog who been inside. Finally got to go outside and play as a kid. Nigga, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I just never been a kid before. And I'm attracted by what's wrong. So nah, man, I wasn't hurt. That's the excuse most people like to use. That's not my excuse. I chose to do what I did because I thought that was a part of manhood.
I believe you.
Yeah.
I believe you.
So my uncle would paint pretty pictures of prison to me. So when I got to school at recess, I was telling my friends what I was gonna do when I get to prison, based on what they done told me. So it wasn't disappointment. It was a badge of honor. It's a badge of honor. As most black people kill with cold hearted seemed like. It's not cold. They want that badge of honor. And I wanted it. One eye, small frame, couldn't play football. I want to be a part of something. Yeah, and I found something to be a part of. And it was everything I was looking for, coming from them negative uncles and my working mother's home. Her presence is gone. We just got a perfect environment, great environment, but we got this negative images to see that matches what we see on television.
Is she still around?
Yeah, mama's still around. Retired from General Motors, became a foster parent for like 30 years.
Dallas?
Yeah.
Still in Dallas?
Yeah, still in Dallas.
Your older brother?
My brother just come home from prison after doing 31 years for a murder he committed when he was 17. Now, my brother was angry. He had a disappointment in his father. He was, daddy show up, daddy show up. I never had dad to show up to disappointment.
Yeah.
So he was angry. I always angry. So I remember we was about, the General Motors Arlington plant had transferred the people from Texas to Monroe, Louisiana. Yeah. I remember watching TV one time. I was probably about 10 years old. And out of nowhere, my brother looked at me and said, when I grow up, I'm going to kill somebody. I ran after and told my mama, kid. My mother spanked him out of frustration.
How old was he?
He probably was 12.
What was he watching when he said this?
We were watching a Rambo movie.
And he said,
First Blood. He said, he just looked at me out of nowhere and said, with a sincere look, and it scared me as a kid. He said, when I grow up, I'm going to kill somebody.
Got it.
Man, I ran after her, hurry up and told my mother. Because mothers have to work with very little support back then. Now, that's a lot of support. She didn't have the luxury to sit down and try to understand where that root came from.
Right.
So he dealt with a lot of disappointment. He grew up angry. I grew up with love, just wanting to fit in. I didn't want to be the baby. I want to be treated. I was baby. I was coddled, but I was a brave heart. I couldn't wait to break free.
All goes back to the conversations we had when you're talking about how things happen with the African-American community, when we talked about crack earlier, when we talked about mindset earlier, father policies, a lot of that. And today, how old are you? Are you?
I'm 48. I just turned 48, May 17th.
So your brother's how old?
He turned 51.
So he just got it 3 years ago?
Yeah, he just got it 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
From 17,
31 years.
Yeah, from 17
Shit.
to 17.
But you guys are still close.
No. You don't know your brother after 30 years?
That's what I'm saying. That's
tough.
tough.
I don't want to be close.
What happened when you saw him? Did you see him?
Yeah, I don't see him in prison.
And when he came out, what was the conversation like?
I don't know you, nigga.
Like that?
Even though I've been seeing you. We've been seeing each other in and out of prison for 30, so we see each other.
Yeah.
But at some point, I stopped going to go see my brother in prison because I'm not your mother and I'm not your father. Your mama love you enough, nigga, to keep going to go see you. I'm gonna stay with my kids. My kids ain't down here. Why do I have to subject myself to be treated like this? Damn. So I ain't gonna see. I ain't sending no money on his books because come out here to us. You got a family out here. So when he got out, he got out on the right track. But he's institutionalized, and he think he know everything. So you have to put your hand back because you can't correct a fool.
Makes sense. Yeah. Charleston, this has been a blast talking to you.
I love it. You got to have me back again.
I definitely will. You will be invited 100% back again in the future. We got a lot more talking to do. But I got a meeting. I'm 5 minutes late, and they're texting me left and right now. Appreciate you for coming up, brother.
You arched
this
your
was
eyebrows?
amazing.
You ain't arched my eyebrows, did you?
What I said?
Your eyebrows, are they arched?
Are they arched?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
They ain't threaded, are they?
Are they threaded? What
they
is
too
that?
perfectly done.
I got a true Middle Eastern eyebrow.
Okay, I'm sitting up here, man, this nigga eyebrow perfect in the motherfucker. Say, what's up, everybody? This your boy Charleston White, a.k.a. America's favorite uncle. I just signed up to Manette. So if you want to message me, you want to cuss me out, you want to fuss at me, even if you want some counseling, call me. I minister healing by way of word. You can message me directly on Manette. I promise, man, I'm going to respond directly. I ignore them DMs on Instagram. They just took my Facebook. I don't respond on YouTube. I will respond on Manette. I promise. Just call me and see. Text me.